because last time I thought it was recording, and it was not. I don't know.
Oh, did you do a whole one? And it was...
Yeah, and I had to use the audio from the cameras. I was so fucking pissed. I think we're good. The cameras are going.
All right, we in?
I think we're in.
We're running it.
This is pretty sick.
Let's do it.
This is
awesome.
Exciting. So, this is. All right, wait. Let me get this out of the way. Dude, I'm still nervous after that first time.
Yeah.
It was just like. I haven't had one podcast yet that has not had a hiccup.
Dude, I mean, let's see what happens today. This is my first podcast ever.
Yeah,
so,
this is exciting.
I mean, thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
I mean, you're housing me. We're in Austin right now.
Yes, we are.
For everyone that doesn't know, which is crazy. Robby just moved out here for the semester. You deferred, right?
Yes. So I technically deferred a whole year.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be in Austin for the next 7 months till August, basically launching up a company out here.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I think it's so beautiful here. I've only been here for like 2 days, and this city is just beautiful.
Dude, it's a special spot. Like, I had never been to Austin when we decided to come down. We threw together kind of a short list of booming cities in the U.S. that we would be interested in moving into. Austin was on there along with like a Nashville. We were looking at Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jackson.
Where's that?
In Florida, and Tampa Bay as well.
Ooh.
Just, 'cause also with COVID and everything, I mean, Florida has kind of been, as we know, very open, and we were looking to be able to find the most opportunity during the COVID era to be able to make some films and carve our own path, because that's not what we were finding in New York.
Yeah. So, what like drew you to Austin over those other cities?
Yeah. So I mean, great question, and especially as a film guy, a lot of people are like LA, New York. You know, those are the hubs. You got to be there if you want to make it. And what we kind of came down to is, at the end of the day, we're still college kids, and we're also broke. Like, we're broke as hell. So we really wanted the most cost-effective option where we're still getting that opportunity. And if we moved into LA or New York City, especially during COVID, trying to break in at that time, it's really hard, because both those cities, their productions, and even Austin a little bit too, but everything is very closed down and tight circle. And if you don't know the ins of these productions, and you're not on those lists and those email chains of call-ins of shoots and whatnot, then you're just not gonna be able to break in. So especially with the rent we'd be having to pay, I'd have to get a day job if I wanted to live in LA, and my rent would just be eating away at everything I do, that I didn't really think I'd have time to focus on Voyager and focus on really throwing myself 100% into doing that. So we landed on Austin because it was honestly most cost effective. Like, I'm paying a third for living in this big apartment, which is huge, bigger than what I had at Syracuse.
Yeah.
I'm paying a third of what I'd had to pay for Park Point in Syracuse, which is insane.
It's not right how much they charge, because they know we have to live there. Like, I'm living in the house this year, and it's like $7,000 for a semester. I'm like, are you kidding me? To live in that shithole? Nothing. I love the house. Like, it's a great place, but it's kind of ridiculous how much they charge for that, because they know we have to live there. Like, and that's the same with like New York and LA.
You get trapped. It's the whole market around student housing. Like, if you're living around a college campus, they're just gonna shoot that price up. That's why here, like, we're living in Travis Heights right now in Austin. So it's a really trendy area. We're right next to SoCo and a lot of cool Austin spots that are really fun. And we're on the other side of the lake from the campus. But because of that, we're still right in a great location, 5 minutes away from downtown. Yeah. 5 minutes away from really anything you need to be or anywhere.
You're right on the highway.
Yeah, exactly. We're right off 35. And we get a nice price where we're not paying $1,200 just to be near UT.
Like, I was telling you before, I was in the Uber on the way here, and the lady, everyone's so nice here. Like, that's what I've been noticing from Jersey. It's just
amazing.
It's so different. Everyone's so nice. But the lady was like, she gave me her real estate agent, and was just saying like, yeah, she's free. Just hit her up. She's like 50 years old. Like, call her, text her, whenever. I'm like, okay, that's so cool. But I was looking at apartments and stuff before, like, all I need is like a place to lay my head and like shower and shit and do that kind of stuff. But yeah, so the prices are just so low. Like, I was looking with Sophie before, for like a 2-bedroom place, and it was like a nice new place was like $1,000 a month, and like compared to the shitholes we living in, like I'm glad. Well, I'm nervous too because she was telling me like the prices in Austin have shot up already.
They're gonna start growing, yeah.
Yeah,
It's because everyone's moving here,
which is
especially in like the last. I know there's some stat I saw where the last 3 months specifically, Austin's seen an increase in people relocating out here. That's like record breaking with the amount of people that are relocating to Austin.
Yeah.
Everyone I talk to too, because you normally don't want to give off that local vibe,
Yeah.
or I mean that tourist vibe where you're like, oh, what's this? Like, and everyone, all the awesome people are like, dude, this guy's not from here. Like, who's this guy? You kind of want to like assimilate a little,
Yeah,
you know, like you want to blend in. And so that, I mean, that's obviously something I've been trying to learn the area real well, so I don't look like a chicken with my head cut off when I'm like going around anywhere. But I've found that there's been maybe a third of the people I've met are also like, oh, that's sick, I just moved here a year ago, or that's sweet, I just moved here 6 months ago. So a lot of people are just coming down here, and because of that kind of that notion, that vibe of everyone's so nice. Like like you're saying, every single person, whether it's someone working a cash register or at like a drive-through window or
the Tito's store.
Yes, someone that's just like my waiter anywhere or waitress. They're so nice, and it's the whole. They'll be like, instead of saying, "Oh, what you want?" they'll be like, "Oh, how you doing, man? How's your day going?" Like, and look at you in the eye and so like nice. Actually care about what you're doing. Yeah, which it just rubs off on you.
It does, and I feel like it kind of reminds me of freshman year. Like everyone's new to the scene. Everyone's just like trying to meet each other, like get the feel of things. And it's nice to have like these people that have been here for so long still like showing the way, because it is kind of dangerous. Like all these people from like California, New York, everyone is coming here, and like they left for a reason, you know. You got to keep Austin weird.
California especially.
So many, but
you see that Yeti billboard? So you know, I was telling you Yeti's based out of Austin. Yeah. Or a neighboring Texas city, but their big Yeti compound, like right there near downtown on Lady Bird Lake, has this big billboard. Yeah. Where it's I bet it says, "I bet they're from California too." So it's just like chirping. I also love that the whole Texas will never be California.
Yeah, I hope not.
I was talking to the Chandler last night, and he goes, Chandler's a buddy we met out here, and Sophie, who's another person that was with us, is like, "Oh, it's gonna become California. It's gonna become LA." And all he says is, we keep talking, and then he goes, before the conversation moves on, he's like, hold up. This will never be California. And it was like, why? He's like, Texas.
That's what he did.
Texas. Longhorns.
Yeah.
And that's the spirit. I love it. It's a great spirit. It's like, keep Austin weird.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
We can't change. This place is so cool. Mm-hmm. Like there's so much to do.
And the world's starting to notice. Everyone's starting to notice.
But that's what I think is really interesting. Like, we could do this anywhere. Mm-hmm. Like, people, it's just an attitude change, you know? Because here, everyone's, like, themselves and nice and kind. But, like, you get New York, everyone's so cut and dry, like, just trying to get efficiency is key. And I think that gets dangerous. But I think we're going to start to see that we could have a city like this anywhere. Yeah. Like, it's just the people that do it. And the people are cool as fuck here. And that's why it's working.
It comes down to, like, what do you value more? What do you think a city should be built off more? Like, you mentioned New York. You talk about efficiency. Like, it's really just a sense of everyone's trying to walk over each other. Yeah. Who's going to make the next bill ahead of you? Like, how am I going to beat you out? Because everyone's competing in the same market for those top jobs that are in the city. Whereas you get a sense with Austin, instead of being more so about results, about that success, it's more so about your own inner personality and the people, and like your almost, I'm not gonna say like social happiness, but maybe more so your sociability and how you meet people and how you're nice to people and kindness and gestures, more so like that, like getting to know people to then get yourself farther. More so where in New York it's results, numbers speak,
you're a lone
action.
wolf.
Yeah, you're just like, I mean, I've never lived in New York for longer than
I'm just in Jersey,
like a city, but I mean, I'd have to see for myself. But
you're right on though, because you see it in, I'll use SNL. What they do is like everyone tries to write their scripts, like, because you write and you try to get your seen on the show pretty much. And everyone's like fighting to get their stuff on the show, and they're not working together. And that's so, I mean, that's why
and
it's
they're
so
still
shit
being
now.
kind of petty though.
Yeah.
So like to their face, they're trying to be, oh, that was a great scene, great script. Like behind doors, like fuck.
But we as humans made it so far because we work together. Like that's what separates us from all these other animals. We work together and we could thrive like that. And that's what it's kind of silly to think like in New York, like you're saying, like they're fighting for these jobs, but there's a piece of cake for everyone. You know, we got to help each other out. Like there's so many podcasts, so many shows, so many TV stuff. And it's like, if you're trying to do it by yourself, like you're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
And that's why like we help each other out. Like you get your friends, you have fun together, you work together. Because like we all are connected. Like we're all the same. Like we were saying,
you want to build each other up. You don't want to break each other down. You know?
Exactly.
And I think that's because there's going to be competition everywhere. Like we're hitting on, we're chirping New York right now, but like to be fair, there's going to be competition in Austin as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Any market, people are vying for the same jobs anywhere. But it's more so how you do it. Like I said, are you going to build each other up and work together to get equal parties to where they want to be in the long term? Or are you going to try to break each other down and backstab each other? And backstab's maybe a little harsh, but
that's what happens sometimes.
Like it's a more cutthroat mentality.
It's not as nice, but you see when people work together, like you get better results. People are happier. I think it's like
teamwork.
Yeah,
it's
teamwork.
It's like sports, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. You need everyone on the same page working together. It's like, for capitalism, I think it's a good metaphor. Like there's these big businesses that like I love locally owned businesses and shit because it's these people's like passions doing what they love, like trying to make it in the world. And then they get to a certain point and then they just get bought out by a big company. Like capitalism at its best should have like a team. Like you go out, sports team or whatever, and you both want to play your best game, but when these companies like buy out these little companies, it silences. There's no competition anymore. You need that competition, like friendly competition, not like I'm gonna slit your throat and kill you and use my skate to gut you.
There's less space for new ideas and new things emerging, you know, because once you get bought out and then you just file in underneath that company umbrella, there's less chance to break away from that brand and be original.
Exactly. You're literally selling out, just taking their cash and be like, all right, I made it. I made it.
I mean, money talks, but
I hope that changes soon. It's so
I think that's another thing if we're harping on like what really makes Austin different just from what we've seen in our little time we've been here is I think there is a less emphasis on making the most money I can today possible. It's more so, are you happy today? Like, what you're doing making you happy right now? And if not, like, how can you change it up? But it's not really about how much money you're making. You get a sense that there's a lot of people here that are very happy with just what they have, that are really not that financially well off, but they have what they want and they're happy with it. And that's how I look at life too. That's all I want. You know, my goal isn't to make the most money possible. I want to be successful, but I don't measure success by making money.
Exactly. That's so cool because we were talking about this the other night when we were going out. But it's easy to get caught up in distractions of life, like money, greed, like seeing other people. Like social media is such a bit amplifies everything because you see these people and you're like, that's what I want. Like I want to be like them. Like we compare ourselves to that, but that's just such a unhealthy way to process the world. Like I like what you're saying. Like you want to be happy. Like that's you want to do stuff you enjoy. Like we're only here for 100 years, if that. Like you better enjoy your time here. Like it's been a gift. Like we are. This is crazy, but like we were talking about this the other night. It was like we are the universe. Like the Big Bang, all this energy was in one spot.
Yeah, that was a crazy thought.
And then it goes. I saw it on some like YouTube like physics channel or some shit, but it was like we're all one. Like we all start as one thing, and then the Big Bang happened, and all this energy gets blasted off into space in all these different directions, but we're all still connected. It's all the same stuff. And that's what I think people are going to start to realize, like treat each other like you want to be treated because we're the same stuff.
Right. We were talking about Uber drives earlier. I had this Uber ride I mentioned it to you briefly, but the rider, right now in COVID, you know how they changed the whole UberX, Uber XL, the notion of riders
How do they do that?
per ride. Like
No.
it used to be 4 people can go in an UberX, now it's 3.
Okay.
And it used to be 6 could go in an XL, but now it's 5 just because of COVID
Yeah.
precautions and whatnot. So we made sure because we had 4 people. Normally we can do an UberX, we had to get an Uber XL, and we're talking to the rider, and I just was curious. I was asking him, hey man, I'm sure that you had a lot of riders that will like request UberX because he has a big car. It's one of those ones that can do both, like a hybrid almost.
Oh yeah.
Like you could do an XL
Big
or you can
boys.
do an X ride with them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you showed up in theory with 4 people to this car, you guys could comfortably sit and he could do your drive. But it's more so, what if they're trying to con you almost because the rider's not making as much money, or the driver, I mean, if it's an UberX compared to an Uber XL. So I asked him, I was like, do you get a lot of kids that order an X but show up with a large group and they're like, oh, my bad, like, but can you still take us? And try to do that because, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've been in situations like that myself where my friends call it, and we just try to squeeze as many as we can to an X. I just want to hear what this guy had to say. And I've never heard this by any driver before because I see 2 sides. I think either the driver is like, nope, you have to have an X. I can't let anyone in. Call a new one. I can take 3 of you. Or it's just a guy who's like doesn't care. He's kind of cool about it. He's like, oh, whatever, like hop in. He says what he does is he just turns the table and flips it on the person who asked him because he says he can tell by asking a series of questions right there whether they knew intentionally what they were doing by calling the X and trying to fit in more people and not pay for it correctly, or if it was actually like an honest mistake. And what he says is he poses a question almost on their conscience, on their morality, and he goes, if you did this accidentally and this is an honest mistake and you didn't mean to, then I'll ride you if the person says like admits that it was a mistake or whatever. But if this was if you're trying to like con me, if you're not actually paying, then I will ride you, but I just want you to think about that. That's like a decision you made. So it's almost like he's posing it on that person's conscience, and he says that a lot of times they'll be like, you know what, no, or like you'll be like, it's fine. Well, like we'll get an XL. Yeah. And they'll change it, or like actually they'll tip them. They'll give them like a tip. Which I mean, then like is this guy just being an ultimate salesman?
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty good. Get some money.
But I just thought it was interesting that like dude talking about how he asked that moral question to each rider he has. Yeah. Were you trying to do this with bad intent, or was it actually an honest mistake? Yeah. Because that makes you think, It does. It's like, oh, that's your karma for the rest of. Because then he's like, he's cutting deep into you. Yeah. And he's your driver. But I just thought it was an interesting outlook on how he's doing it.
He plants the seed in your head and it's like, hey, you're gonna do the right thing. You're gonna be a scumbag, and no one wants to be a scumbag. Yeah. But I honestly don't understand how. I don't like people that say get in that car with malintent or whatever and just don't pay them. Yeah. Like, I don't get how you could just be a dick.
Or be like, oh, I'm going to tip you.
Yeah. And
then you get out of the car. Like, there's no way you can track you down and tip you on the app.
Yeah. Because no one's like watching it. But it just, to me, it just doesn't make sense how people could just be so mean like that.
And a lot of people do. Like, I've been in cars where they'll be like, oh, like, I mean, I'm not going to name any names, obviously. Yeah. But like, friends of mine that will be like, yeah, I got the tip, and then we'll get out, and then they'll be like, ha, like laugh, be like, ha, I didn't tip him, ha. It's like, is that funny, dude? Yeah. Like, that was like a nice guy who's out here on a Friday night at
just trying to make a
midnight, 1 a.m. if we're going home, like even later than that, like late hours grinding, probably as a family, trying to make money. Exactly. And you're just like, who are we? These college kids that are partying that just think it's funny to not tip him. I mean, the driver said this too. He's like, I can tell who has money available to tip. If you're going out and you're in a big group, like that means we're spending money. What is it? What is $2 extra going to hurt if we honestly did mess up and we're just like conning this guy? Like, come on. I just thought it was interesting.
No, it is. Yeah. I think there's that I think people are going to start to see, and it's really cool. What I do a lot is just like try to put myself in their perspective to see what like they're going through, because we got to treat each other like neighbors. Like it's so cheesy, but like these sayings,
empathy,
that stay around, like treat each other like or like you want to be treated, like, but because we're one in the same, like our consciousness, like I've been watching so much stuff, and but our consciousness they're all connected. Like, think these nodes like a net, and each point where the nets interlock is like each of our own consciousness. And like, it's so crazy to think about, but we're all connected in this huge net of life, like one way or another. Like, I am you and you are I. And it's cool to like put yourself, like, if that Uber driver, like, if that was me, would I want these kids to do this to me? No. So why do it?
Yeah.
But it's hard to put ourselves in that situation, because there's a song called it's a country song where this guy has a conversation with the devil.
Yeah.
it's what it's called. And he has a line in it where it's like, well, the whole point is like, he had a dream last night, I was cast into hell by a jealous guy. That's how it starts. So he has a dream where he's casted to hell, and he's like talking to the devil. He's like these are the preachers, like they're in hell. Like, it's a great song if you listen to it. But I don't even know where I was going with that. It's such a good song.
You were talking about like how people are connected, like put empathy, put yourself in his shoes.
No.
It's almost like it's like shared experiences too, and experiences that aren't shared.
Yeah.
So like talking about how we're all connected and we're all like in a unity. You can, like, the fact, what did you say? You or I and I are like we can see ourselves and other people based on the experiences they're going through. It's like when you look at, if you have like younger siblings, or anyone that's graduating high school, you can really feel like what they're going through. Like, for example, when COVID hit, a lot of people, like, you really empathize with those and sympathize with those high school seniors that get that senior year taken away from them, because we all had that experience of our senior year and know how amazing it is. So then it's almost those shared experiences and then lack thereof, which then has you feel connected, or it causes you to feel connected with those people on that same type of level where, like you're saying, we're all similarly connected with how the world works, because we do mutually experience a lot of the same feelings, and
we all want the same stuff. We all want, I mean, at least I think most people want is like peace, happiness, love. That's it. Like, that's all, like, at the base of everything. Like, that's wish I want.
Right.
Like,
and you can look at anyone in the room and you can discuss it with them, like how each of you are doing at achieving those things.
And we were talking about it the other night, like the masks. Like, everyone wants.
That was crazy.
Yeah. So everyone wants these three things, like love, peace, happiness, and like from a young age, like I was talking to my brother about it, and he had like a Pluto hat or a Goofy hat. I think it was a Pluto hat. And he wore it on his bus when he was like a kid. Mm-hmm. And then the kids made fun of him for like, oh, nice hat, bitch. I don't know what they said. Like, kids are mean. Kids tell the truth, though. And then he never would wear the hat again because he was hurt by that and that pain. Like, no one wants to feel that pain and suffering. So you create a facade or a mask and you put it on, and like then you don't wear the hat again, even though that's who you are and like what you like. You hide it because you don't want to get hurt by the world, because we are influenced by what others think of us. And people can always say like, oh, I'm not influenced what other people say, but we all are affected because we all want each other to like us, and it's when people get hurt so much, that's like all they know. So they create just a wall. And
that mask.
The mask. And it's that wall, you can't break through it. It's hard to do because you've had your entire life building it up so you don't feel pain, so you don't get hurt. And
once, you're like, this is my identity now.
Yeah. And then it's all you know. And that's why I'm so blessed that I was able to go to all these like seminars and self-help stuff when I was a kid, because it gave me the tools I needed to understand that life is like just that. It's a game. Not like a game, but
it is a game.
It kind of is. And we can't get caught up. Like, there's one guy, I forgot who it was, but he was always like you're playing a video game and you just getting so frustrated. Like, I play Rocket League and I get so freaking pissed when I lose and shit. I'm like, dude, calm down. It's a game. It doesn't matter. Like, have fun with it. Like, you're blessed to be just playing it. And I think we got to take that into our lives. Be like, all right, take a breath. Okay, it's just a game. Like, we're here to have fun. Like, we're here to love each other. And that's why I love meditation. Like, I just started. I'm pretty shit at it. But there's so much, like we were saying, what is it called on Netflix? That Headspace.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Like, that is such a good intro to it, because we can't all go to like the Indian the
Buddhist monk temple.
Yeah. We can't go there. Like, it's hard to learn how to do this like sacred and weird thing. Yeah, and it gives you a outlet to learn, I guess.
And I think that's the stigma that's associated with meditation too, that scares a lot of people off from trying it, is they view it as like, people in robes that are bald that are like sitting still for 8 hours. That's not really what meditation is. If you, in simple terms, I mean, just taking 10 minutes just to yourself, where you really just are not trying to think about anything. You're just trying to reach that state where you're just any idea that's coming in, you're just bouncing it out in one ear out the other, just to rest yourself, and you feel rejuvenated and refreshed. Meditation is something that I tried for a little bit with Headspace, but I haven't really. It's something I want to get back into. You know, I'm happy to hear you're doing it.
But it's hard to do. It's like you can't. It's like anything. You gotta keep doing it, keep getting better. Like, I've only been doing it for like probably a month or two now. But like, I do that and I pray a lot. But like, what I've been learning is like not to just clear your mind. It's just accepting what's there, and like, it's not trying to like, I don't know. There's this great guy, my professor recommended it to me. It's called Insight Timer. It's an app you can get on your phone, and it's like guided meditation. And I use one called by David G. Absolute beast.
Shout out David G.
David G. He's got white hair. It's called Deep Healing. And the whole thing is you do it every morning. It's 20-something minutes for like 55 days. And it's like, it rewires your brain. And because it starts off, take a deep breath, focus on your breathing. Because you got to like, I don't know. I wish someone could just sit me down and just like explain it all to me. But it allows you to catch yourself in like your loops. Like I was telling you the other night, like my head gets in loops. Like when something happens and I just keep thinking about it, and I get lost in my own head when it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's like the whole overthinking. Yeah. You create these stories in your head of where things are going to go. Yeah. It's like, dude, all you're doing is saying hi to this girl. Yeah. That's it. That's not where, don't be thinking about what's happening the rest of the night. Like, you're just saying hello.
We create the problems in our own head, but it allows you to take a step back and be like, oh, this is what I'm doing. Let me get back on track. You know, like, oh, I noticed. And then like a little gentle bump back on your path. Yeah, which is kind of cool. It's nice because I've seen such a significant change in my own life. I started all this stuff with Midnight Gospel like a year ago when the pandemic hit, and I've been just using this past year just to like grow internally. And it's hard as shit. Like, it's hard, but because it faces you with stuff like you don't want to face. You know, I don't know, but. It is nice. I think with this technology, like it's easier than ever to get this information. Like back in the day, like our parents and stuff, like how are they going to know about this? Like how would I ever been able to like learn about meditation if we didn't have the internet?
Dude, I mean, that's a whole crazy thing. You know what I was my friend told me last night, we were talking about keeping in touch with people. When you're not in the same location, which is something I struggle with. Yeah. I'm personally not very good at calling up all my friends and like keeping tabs when I'm away. And that was something I wanted to do a good job at intentionally while I'm in Austin, to keep in touch with like all my friends from Syracuse, because I'm not going to be there the whole year.
Yeah, we're going to miss
all
you.
My friends from back home as well, you know, family as well. And just do better at calling and keeping in touch. But this guy I was talking to, he's like, you know what, man? Like, I don't even know how much that matters, because the people that I know that I love, I'm real good friends with, I know that whenever I'm with them in the same room and we meet up again together, it's just right back like we never left, because that's how they know me and I know them like that, and we know who we are, and we know like that we love each other like that, like we're buds.
Yeah.
And he followed that up with, because think about what our parents did before iPhones were a thing, before FaceTime was a thing, before calling and just at the touch of your fingertips was a thing. They would write each other like letters if they really wanted to stay in touch. And then what does that even accomplish, you know? Mm-hmm. That this is a new thing, like going forward into the future, this ability to keep in touch with so many people at the same time.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting because it's true. It's like, yeah, my parents, like, how the hell did they keep in touch with all their buddies? You know?
It's hard though, because like I'm like the same way. I hate my freaking phone sometimes. Like I love it, but like there's so many people like I know, and when I'm not in a certain spot, do you want to move that cup over there? I don't know if it's in the shot or not. Yeah, but yeah, like there's so many people, and like I love them all, and I don't like I'm not a big texter. Like people text me or send me emails or Snapchat, and I just like don't really go on my phone like when I'm here, when I'm at school.
Yeah,
like I want to be present. Like I want to enjoy this moment.
Yeah. And what also is interesting too, and kind of sucks, is some people will take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
If you don't, like, people that I love, that I think are awesome people, that I love hanging out with, miss dearly, don't want them to take it the wrong way if I don't FaceTime them, like, in a span of months while I'm out here, you know? Because there's so many people like that in my life that, I don't want them to think, oh, he doesn't care about me, he never called me when he was gone. Because that's not the truth of it. Like, a good example for my personal life is my family has this lake cottage up in Traverse City, Michigan, where I go every summer. I've been going since I was a little kid. And same with not only my family, but all the other families that go up there. They come up every summer. All my friends up there that I've grown up with every single summer, because I spend months up there, I rarely keep in touch with them, just whether it's maybe like a response on a story here or there, or just like a random one-off text, but really not well in touch with them over the rest of the year, discounting the summer. But right when we get up to Traverse City, it's like, yo, we were here literally yesterday. What's up, man? Like, you're my best friend. Like, that's what it's like. And that's kind of how I view it, you know? I don't want people to, like, don't get mad if I don't call you.
Yeah, that is so nice, though. Like,
I'll try.
Yeah, you don't need, like, I think about so many people, like the people that matter to me and that I love, like I always have them in my heart, you know, like just because I don't reach out doesn't mean that like I don't love you. It's just, I'm doing other stuff right now. Like you're always with me. Like that love's always there. And when you go back to Michigan, like it's still there. You guys start off right where you left. Like,
right.
I think that's nice because it is like I call my mom and dad and grandma every Sunday at school. And it's nice to stay in touch like that, see each other. Or hear each other's voices. But like some people, like my friends from like middle school or elementary school or high school, like there's so many freaking people, and I like love them all.
High school, dude. When I think about, I mean, I've lost touch sadly with like a lot of kids that I was with all the time in high school. You know, not like fully lost touch. I'm sure if I called them tomorrow, they'd pick up and we just catch up. But it's, those are like I'm not speaking to them on a regular basis. You know, I honestly couldn't tell you what they're doing with their lives right now. Yeah, which is sad. It's kind of a sad thing, but I think it's just growing up. And,
that's what my youth minister was saying. He was like, you can't keep in touch with everyone,
right?
Like, he said it so beautifully. But pretty much the basic of it was just that you can't keep in touch with everyone. But like, if you were to reach out, like you're always going to be there for them. But everyone goes down separate. Oh yeah, this is what it was. It was like we have to appreciate the time we had together. You know, like we move on in our lives, but we just got to appreciate and love the time we had. Like we're not staying in high school or college forever.
Yeah.
We're not going to be with the same people forever, but we got to enjoy the time we have with them and appreciate and be thankful and grateful that we had that time, which
Definitely.
is nice. Because we do move on. Like I'm not seeing the same kids I've seen in elementary school. We got different
Everyone's
lives.
growing. Everyone's meeting new people too.
Different
like
paths.
Moving to a new city.
Yeah.
Like you're just meeting new people. You're expanding. You're growing. It's tough. It's healthy to not get bogged down by your old past. You know, those are still relationships. It's not like they're old relationships. Those are still your relationships. But that's why that whole thing about like, oh, if you don't call me, you don't care about me. Like, that's not. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's fair. It is, but it is nice sometimes. Like, I get a text or a call from someone like in my past. I was like, "Yo, how you doing?" It's like that's so nice because like
nice.
It shows you like people are thinking about you, people care about you.
Yeah,
and it is nice to get that reminder sometimes. Yeah, it's just so nice. Mm-hmm. It's a good feeling when people like care about you. You get that nice warm environment.
Yeah, so that's something I'm gonna try to do a better job.
Yeah.
At. With all that said.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to get in Austin alone. There's so much to do.
Yeah,
there's so much to do. We were at a few places. We were having so much fun. Like I was just telling, the food here is better than anything I've had before.
Food's insane.
It's so good.
Goes crazy.
Like anywhere we've went, like just normal restaurants.
Yeah.
The food is better than it should be. I feel like. I feel like if I just go, like I literally sat down at a barbecue place called Cooper's today, and it was just a quick meal. I thought I'd be like, it'll be just barbecue food. It's amazing. I thought like that line should be out the door. They had all this stuff lined up. Dude, cut it up.
I literally went my first night here. I didn't want to get fast food, and that's something we can talk about too. Like just the amazing options of fast food there are here. Period. But I went to this food truck spot. It's called the Golden Tiger. Shout out Golden Tiger. I got their like original chicken sandwich, fried chicken sandwich. Yeah. I kid you not, it was honestly better than anything I've consumed in Syracuse. Like, we're just talking like we're gonna look at Syracuse, and just the city and the university options compared to Austin. Yeah, it is like the Empire State Building compared to like a 3-story condo. Like, it is insane. Just how good and how plentiful all the food options are. Yeah, this sandwich, honestly. Like, we should go there later because this place, honestly, I think was better than Chick-fil-A, was better than Popeye's sandwich. Maybe the best fried chicken sandwich I've ever had. Yeah. Shout out Golden Tiger.
What do you think, like, that is, though? I don't – because I feel like people are good cooks, you know? Do you think it's, like,
dangerous? I'm going to get fat. I'm supposed to get in shape out here. I'm going to get fat. I got to stay away.
Dude, they got to start making – I would love some, like, healthy fast food restaurants, like, that taste good. Like, why can't people make – healthy food tastes better,
right? Dude, in like to the fast food conversation too, I think this is the only place I've ever been. I'd like to see a stat on cities that have all this, but you know the life or the ongoing argument like In-N-Out versus Shake Shack, even though those are comparable because there's different prices and whatnot, but there's like they associate with the East and the West coasts. There is In-N-Out in Austin. There is Shake Shack. There is Whataburger, which I tried for the first time. I think it's overrated. I did not think it was all that. People are like, oh, Whataburger's the best. Then if you look at chicken spots, they got Cane's. They have Chick-fil-A. They have Zaxby's. They have I haven't seen a Bojangles. Actually, I don't know if they have Zaxby's, but
I've never even heard of some of these.
Yeah, I mean, I love talking like comparing like whose favorite chicken spots are, burger spots are. When I was driving down here, I tried Bojangles, tried Zaxby's, I've had Cane's. I gotta say, I think in terms of like chicken tenders, Cane's is the move. But if you're going for a chicken sandwich, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A is so good. Yeah. Oh my gosh,
that's my take.
Dude, the chicken sandwiches. Like we would go on like a Saturday.
Oh, P. Terry's too. That's another Austin like fast food spot they got. Burger spot. So good.
There's so many names, and you're saying when you came down here, you drove. So you're from Cincinnati.
513 represent.
Yeah.
Shout out the boys.
You love your city so much, and I really admire that. So how did you drive from Cincinnati all the way here, right? Or did you start from Syracuse?
No. So I was in Cincinnati over break, over Christmas, and New Year's, and then I left. So Charlie, who's one of my partners with Voyager, he's from New Canaan, Connecticut. He drove down, met me in Cincinnati. And then we both left Cincinnati and took the trip to Austin. We did it it was supposed to be in 2 days. We ended up making it 3 days because we had a wild night in Nashville.
Quick pit stop.
Love Nashville. Yeah. And but it was 16 hours total. We ended up going, and dude, what a trip, man! I
want to hear about
you. This. It really, I think we like to think that like we understand the U.S., like not even the world, just like look at the U.S. just in general. Like we've looked at this map for so long, or even just the election, man. You're staring at this map for hours on end. You like to think that you have like a good grasp of what our country is, but I found myself on this drive, like driving through Arkansas, for example. I was like, I have never stepped foot in Arkansas, and like I'm here now. This is what Arkansas is. But it's like one of those things. It's like, oh, I know what Arkansas is. It's Arkansas. I was like, yeah, like Little Rock. That's Arkansas. But it wasn't until you're in there, it's like, oh, this is what it's like. Texas too. It's like you always look at Texas. You like to think you got your head wrapped around what Texas is. Like, oh, like cowboy hats, cowboy boots. You know, they love their guns. Like that's the South. Very prideful. Literally, I mean, Austin's a different story because Austin really is like, and anyone from here will love to remind you, Austin isn't like Texas really. It is Texas, but it's not like the rest of Texas.
Own thing.
No one here is wearing cowboy hats. No one's wearing cowboy boots. It's really just like another city, you know.
Yeah.
But
it's like our
with the good things that we've harped on. But it's just crazy to actually go to these places, and shout out Connor Silva, who's doing like a sick cross. I think he just finished actually. Did a sick cross country trip. I'd love to talk to him, like just seeing all those places, because we went through Louisville, Nashville, Memphis, Little Rock, Texarkana, Dallas, Austin. So I'd never been to Memphis, never been to Little Rock, never seen Dallas, and just a series of a trip. You just see all those cities, and it's different than just reading about them and watching like Dallas Cowboy games and seeing AT&T Stadium and being like, oh, Dallas, like
spaceship.
Like it's you associate things that you just subconsciously you don't realize like you're associating with it until you see it for your own eyes. You're like, wow, so this is what that's about. Honestly, that trip motivated me to want to do this cross country trip I've been talking about with the Space Coupe.
Yeah, the Space Coupe.
The van I just got. I want to deck out and just take it and hit as many national parks as I can.
Yeah.
And live and just camp out of the van. Live very cheaply or cost effectively.
Yeah, that thing's sick though. It's like for people that haven't seen it. How would you? It's just a space coupe.
It's a 2017 Ford Transit Connect XL.
Thing's dope.
I got it with 86,000 miles on it.
Yeah,
love the Space Coupe. Shout out Henry Wood for that name.
Yeah.
And yeah, I couldn't be happier. Like I said, I was on the lot when I was getting this car. I just got this car. And the guy's like showing me like, oh, here's like this random Honda like CRV. Here's like this Ford sedan type classic basic car. They all look the same to me in my eyes. And then, and here's this utility vehicle. And I'm just like, I want this utility vehicle.
Yeah. Give him the van.
I want to like fit as much people, as much space in this thing as I can.
I feel like it fits you so well. It's so sick.
I'm a sucker for big cars. I've been driving big cars like my whole life.
Yeah.
Started with the 05 Chevy Suburban.
Yeah.
The white whale.
That thing was a beast.
Yeah, that thing was bigger than the Space Coupe. That thing was huge.
It was a big boy. When you pulled up to the airport and picked me up in that van, I'm like, I was so, I don't know if you could feel it. I was so overwhelmed with joy to see you, because I haven't seen you in a while, like a few months, and then that Space Coupe, and I throw my stuff in the back.
It's literally a spaceship
with a rope.
Oh my God, we should talk about that. So, talking about how it's so big and fit anything, I was picking up a box spring from the Mattress Firm warehouse, because we're gathering furniture for our place. We just got here, and I call the guys at Mattress Firm. I'm like, hey, this is my car. Do you think I'm gonna be able to fit it inside, or should I? Am I gonna be able to transport this thing, or should I have it delivered? They're like, oh no, that you got the transit, yeah, it should work. Because people are familiar on these docks with like the vehicle, because it is like a utility. It literally was an enterprise fleet vehicle. And so I pull up to the loading dock. I'm like 30 minutes away from our apartment, and this guy hops out to help me. And I kid you not, this dude is stoned out of his mind. He's literally like younger than me. He's not wearing a mask. Yeah. He's just like totally like, oh, so we're putting it in here. I was like, yeah, we're gonna try to fit it in here. And it's got the wooden frame, so it's not like a mattress where you can just like compress it and fit it. We're trying to squeeze it in. We realize, oh my gosh, it's not gonna fit. And so I asked this guy. I was like, okay, so what do you think? Can I just tie this on my roof? I don't have racks, I just have like my rooftop. It's like, well, will that work? I think it'll work, right? He's like, oh, I mean, we got some rope. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And he's like, all right. He goes and gets this rope. First thing he wheels out, he cuts it. We throw it over, way too short. And he's like, oh, dang. Okay, let me get some more. Like, this dude is so incompetent. I'm just sitting there. It's raining. I'm sitting there. I'm like, he's the only guy. They're about to close. It's dark. I was like, this is going to be a disaster. We end up tying 2 strands of rope over this mattress on my car with no racks. And when we finished tying it, it's like literally like my sleeve is how tight it was around my arm, was just what the rope was on the mattress. I'm able to push this thing. And I'm asked this guy, I was like, dude, you're working the loading dock. Like, you should know, like, you should be able to tell me, like, if this is going to be safe. And I ask him, and he's like, oh, yeah, you should be fine. Like, I've seen a lot worse.
I've seen a lot worse.
I'm like, dude, this thing's going to, I have to get on the interstate. And I was like, oh my gosh. I basically then tightened it as much as I could and closed the door on the rope, get on the road. I get onto the highway. I immediately realized once I start like going past 40 miles an hour, the rope that I had tightened just like slowly tightens up and gets taut out the window. So that means it's obviously getting loose up top. And I don't have a sunroof. I can't see it, but I just feel this mattress frame slipping. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a disaster. This thing can you imagine? Flies on the highway. This is a big ass like full bed box spring. That's an accident.
Yeah, big time.
So I just hug the right. I was slow down, hazards on. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I get off on an exit. I park in this random parking lot. I get out of my car. This thing's like halfway over the back of my car, about to fall off. And I was like, oh my God, thank God I got over. That was almost a disaster. And I'm tweaking. I'm freaking out. I still got 25 minutes to go. I'm like, how am I going to get this home? And then I see a Home Depot like across the street. And I'm like, okay, let's figure this out. I go in there. I buy like a set of 4 ratchet straps. And which I have a lot of experience using, obviously, like on film sets through the years. And I make this contraption of 4 ratchet straps that basically cements it to my car. But it took me like 40 minutes out there, like getting it and then in the rain and doing it through my car. I was soaking wet. Like, it was pouring. My mattress was soaked. Oh my God. But I ended up cementing it down and making it home. But I was saying the joke. It's funny now. That van is perfect for everything except for when I go and pick up my first date. Yeah. And I pull up in the fucking the rape van.
The rape van, yeah, dude. It looks just like a bang bus.
Yeah, it literally does. And it's even better. She hops in and sees all this rope in the back.
Yeah, we're like, oh, geez, it's going to be one of those dates.
Oh, like, what's this rope for? What are you
I had a mattress.
There's a mattress in your car?
No, that's so
I was
funny.
tying down to the match. I mean.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't think you'd last. You got to get your friend's car or something or meet her there.
It's a great second date car.
Yeah,
that first one, though, like before we break that ice.
Yeah, especially if you're going when you're doing your cross-country trip with the mattress in the back.
Yeah. My God, yeah.
To go out beneath the nice stars. That'd be cool. That's what I wish I saw here. Because it's been cloudy the past few days.
Yeah, dude.
I wanted to see
beautiful. The blue sky. That's also the thing. Like, seeing a blue sky is so nice. Because I'm Cincinnati's like this. I'm sure Jersey is. Q's is.
Q's is definitely
gray.
Like
just gray. All the time. Gray. And it's nice when you get that sun coming through the blue sky, see the cloud.
It affects your mood, too. Yeah. Like at Syracuse.
Seasonal depression.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah. It is so real. I remember last year before COVID hit, it was spring, and it was like the first blue sky we had because we were just coming out of winter, and I was so happy. Like it was during time where I shouldn't have been very happy, but it got me so excited to see the sun, and I forgot that it was there. And my dad drove me home when all the COVID shit hit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the sun's out here. Like, we got to play. He's like, it's like this every day here. I'm like,
right.
What?
Right.
Because we go out. If the sun's out, like if it's 30 degrees, 20 degrees, and the sun's out, everyone will be outside.
Isn't that awesome in the spring? Like when those April months hit where the snow melts away and just I'm going to miss that about this spring. Like everyone just coming out and playing and just having a good day.
That's a good thing about Syracuse. Like the cold sucks, but it brings the shared suffering, brings everyone together.
The payoff.
Yeah, the payoff. Because when those spring days hit and the sun's out, everyone's outside.
Oh, it's just a rampage.
Yeah.
It's a parade. It's
You
a party.
feel the love all around. Like that
Yeah.
place is so much fun when it gets warm, and when it's the cold, it's just so brutal. Like you put
Yeah.
jackets on, that wind whips right through.
You start slipping on ice. You do the
Yes.
thing where like you start sliding.
Yes.
And you feel like your life flashes before you, like you're about to hit, and then you just catch yourself.
Yeah,
And
this is
go.
the day I fall. Last year, I saw me and my roommate. It was the most ridiculous thing. My roommate was Ben Beast. I love Ben. He was walking back in front of Newhouse. He was walking down to BBB, down the promenade, and I was walking up. And
the promenade.
the promenade. Oh, yes.
The promenade.
Yeah. Oh, is that how you say it?
I don't know.
I have no clue.
I just thought it was funny you said promenade.
Promenade.
The Gatorade.
Yeah. But he was...
Yeah, I think it's promenade.
Promenade. Yeah, he was walking down. I was walking up. We were like, "Oh, yo, what's good?" And it was a rainy day, and it was coming down. And this biker was coming down. It was just, this whole scene was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen at Syracuse. This guy comes, he fucking falls, like slips on the stuff. He goes flying off his bike. Some lady's umbrella gets ripped and goes flying. This is all happening at once. And like, we're just like, what the fuck? Like, just imagine this biker going down, like whipping ass. And then the wind just bursts. The rain crashes down. And he just splats out on the fucking, the pavement, the promenade. And then
Dude,
the
that
umbrella
promenade
just whips.
takes victims.
It
That's
does.
slippery.
It's so slippery. You would
You
think
gotta be careful on that.
if there's any slickness, you're going down.
I walk in the mulch, honestly, on
Yeah.
the dirt on the side or the grass on the left.
The left side and the right side, they have like the concrete because it's different. I walk on those because it's
you got
not
a little
as
traction.
Yeah, exactly. You would think Syracuse would have been like, "Oh, it rains, it snows here. Let's not make something that's so fucking
Yeah.
slippery." They should just put sandpaper down.
Dude, I don't think this past semester during COVID I ever even walked on the promenade.
Yeah.
Just because we like Shine also being closed. Is Shine about to be open?
Yeah, I saw on their LinkedIn. They I love LinkedIn so
I was
much.
browsing LinkedIn
Yeah,
last night.
I don't even post anything. I just like to scroll
Yeah.
and see what everyone's doing. But they posted the Shine looks beautiful. It looks so nice.
I'm excited to see that.
I've never seen the old one.
Oh yeah, was it closed all freshman year?
And when I
For you?
toured, yeah, I didn't see it. I've never been in it.
Damn, that
They've
place has
doing
been closed
construction.
for over a year.
Yeah, even when I was touring, it was closed.
Wow.
So I've never been in there, but
We've had no student center ever.
no. But it looks really nice. It looks like a great collaboration spot. But the classes this year. You're VPA major, film major.
Yes, sir.
Like we were talking about it. The same. I'm TV, radio, and film. It's like, how are we supposed to learn how to use anything?
I mean, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I basically was all online, and I'm taking some classes as I'm starting to reach the more advanced parts of my major, where these are like pinnacle classes. Like these are very important for just my education in film. One specifically cinematography, where that you're supposed to learn and work on sets every single day, and you're learning the big professional HMI lights, and you're learning all the RE equipment, and you're learning how to shoot on these big cameras. You're learning how to use all the dollies, basically every single grip and lighting technique you need to learn to shoot professional grade level content. It's hard to learn when you're looking through a computer screen instead of having this big camera in your hand, and you're just watching someone point to it, and he's in this little window right here, and I'm just in my room, like where I just woke up.
Yeah.
And how am I engaged through that? And I honestly probably learned. I mean, I still learned stuff out of that class, and I got some good experiences out of that class. Just more so when I was practicing, like what we were assigned. But I only probably learned about 30% of what I should have been learning, and that goes for all my classes I took. And it basically caused me to take a step back. It's like, I'm not getting the bang for my buck here. And with VPA specifically, and this is like, I don't know exactly the intensiveness of the TRF major with your like a senior thesis. But for us, we have our thesis film, which you basically direct all your focus of your senior year on this one film you make, which is kind of, once you come out of school, your thing that you show any employer. Where it's like, because you could have the best stats, you could have the best experience, you could have all this, blah, blah, blah. Show me your film. Yeah. And that's what is supposed to open doors for you. That's how you get in. And it's the most important thing. And I was looking at myself going into my second half of my junior year, looking at the past 3 semesters I've had have been cut short for reasons. We go all the way back to last year, my sophomore year. The fall gets cut short with the
shooting threats.
The
hate crime.
The hate crime manifesto that got dropped and everyone gets sent home. That canceled our sophomore year film review, whatever, or critique. Didn't have that. Then the following semester gets cut short because of COVID. We don't even shoot our sophomore film, which we spent months of pre-pro on. We don't even get to film it. It was supposed to be our really first film where we're using real actors and real set equipment on a big set with a big crew. Don't get to do those. Get no film review at the end of the semester. This past semester, cut short again, all on Zoom, all online, and again, no review at the end. So I'm looking at myself. The past 3 semesters, I've only shot maybe on a full crew set of 10 plus people. I've only maybe done that like a couple times. I can count on one hand. And I'm looking ahead that a year from now, I'm supposed to be doing and planning and getting ready to shoot my senior film, which I will be investing like $5,000 of my own money to make, and it'll be the biggest production I've ever taken on. Am I ready for that yet? Am I there? And the answer is no. Like I'm not getting the bang for my buck. I need to take a step back, let this COVID situation heal, let the world heal. Let's get back to where I can learn in a classroom setting, where I can be engaged more so, when the school can figure it out on their end as well. Yeah. And where I can get that bang for my buck with the thousands of dollars in tuition money I'm paying. In the meantime, why don't I just carve my own path? Why don't I do something for myself where I can show my resilience and show my ability to make the most out of a shitty situation? And that for me was, and also just get out there and do stuff, because I had 3 films I was supposed to make this past semester. We made all 3 of them, but they were all supposed to be professional sets, which they were still professional. But what I mean by that is professional grade equipment that we're renting out of the cage, and with professional talent and everything. And 2 of those 3 films all got shut down at the last second because of COVID, and we had to just guerrilla style it with basically my hand camera, my handheld Sony, and just whatever random stuff I had in my backpack, which is what I'm used to doing. Like, I've grown up making films like that, but I'm at the point where I'm trying to get to the professional level, Hollywood style filmmaking. Like, I'm trying to be on real sets, you know? And you couldn't do that in New York with COVID. Yeah. And that's basically the thing. It's like, fuck it, man. I'm going to move out to Austin and start this film production company with 3 of my other great friends that I've been collaborating with for the past 2 years and have came up through that program with. And we're just going to do our own thing while the world heals and while the school heals and while everything gets back to normal. And then if we fail, and then it's almost like I can't fail coming to Austin, because say our company we don't make any money. We don't do anything. It's terrible. Which we're still going to be making content, but say like it's a failure. It just doesn't work. I can't sustain myself out here. I just go right back to school, and I take all that knowledge that I learned about what went wrong and what didn't work, and then I can cater that to the rest of my education, what I need to learn to be ready for the professional world once I come out. Because it's like a test period. It's better that happens now, and I can go back to school with what I learned, than to actually graduate, make a senior film that wasn't as good. Because that's the thing too. I know I can I will get there where I can make it amazing, and I just know at the state I was in with the Zoom school, it wasn't gonna be as good as it could be, and I want it to be the best thing ever. So that's why I was like, I'm gonna do this. I can't fail, because even if it is a failure, I go back to school with what I learned. Other than if it's like I'm already graduated, say I fail then in the first 6 months out of school. Well, what's your fault? Nothing. That's your career now. Yeah. So now your career is, and I think failure is a beautiful thing. I think you need failure in order to succeed. So, I mean, if I was in that situation, I'm sure, like out of school, I'm sure you'd still figure it out. But it's such a nice, it's like a breath of fresh air, the ability to know you have that fallback, that you can't fail because you're going back to school anyways. You're still finishing out your degree. And that's why there was no reason I didn't think I should do it. Like, really the biggest thing was just my friends and my community back at Syracuse I was going to miss. But it's just like, dude, when you're young, you got to take those risks like while we can, you know, because once you're in the real world, and out of school, like the window of opportunity closes.
Yeah, it makes it harder. I mean, I think it's so amazing that you deferred coming out here, because people that like cameras, they're not easy. Like there's so much. It's not just getting your phone out, taking a picture. Like we were talking about it the other night, like the ISOs, the apertures, and I've worked with cameras, and like I know nothing. Like you need to know. You can't just bullshit that stuff for people that don't use cameras.
Oh no,
they're hard.
It's a whole learning process.
And you have created some very, 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 very cool content, and it's very good.
Appreciate it.
And I think it's so amazing that you came out here and you are following your path, because you're taking a risk. That's what it is. Like, you're leaving your friends behind. You're leaving the comfort of school to come out to the world and learn. And that learning, like, I like the simile, like, growth. Like, you need struggle to grow. Like, a tree is not going to grow without any rain. You know, you
100%.
need that rain to help you grow. And you're going to learn so much here. You're telling me, because you are an entrepreneur.
Yeah, like I was telling you that, right? I've literally, my whole education has been art focused, art based. And I said this was funny too. Like, I grew up back home in high school. Like, all my best friends, besides like one who is on pre-med track, all of them business majors, you know? And I was going to art school.
Yeah.
I was going to pursue film. And you look now, 3 years later, I'm the only one everyone. Actually, I do have this one friend who started a company.
Yeah.
Shout out Connor Pole's Cycle. But out of all my boys, I'm the one that's the entrepreneur now, and I'm learning all this stuff about running a startup on my feet, on the fly. And that's what's also the beauty of it too, is I'm getting that experience from more so the business building, entrepreneurship side, sales side, which is totally different from the film side, which I'm excited to reach that film side where we start producing more. But this past 2 months, we've just been in the whole startup build phase, entrepreneur side, where we're learning how to everything from like defining our company and how we're going to pitch ourselves to clients and get their sale and make their videos and secure them, to just defining our company and building our website and figuring out how we're going to market ourselves, figuring out branding, figuring out like the finances behind it, our operating agreement, the laws that goes into filing for an LLC. Like I wrote a 11-page operating agreement with my dad, who's a lawyer, and that's like even the law side of it. And like talked to our registered agent, opened up our LLC, and like you're figuring out tax law, and you're figuring out am I a C corp, am I a partnership, am I a multi-member? It's like you learn all this stuff on the fly, and I'm gonna come away from this now too with that knowing that more so business side of how things work. It also gives you a different perspective on the world, because you see kind of how people make money, honestly, how businesses grow, how they're catered. Because at the end of the day, even though we are a creative, artistic company, our film production company, it is a business. Yeah, you know, and that's what we're doing at the end of the day. Yeah.
And you dove in head first into this water, and it's a nice thing. Like, we know, like a dot. Like, imagine just a dot on a piece of paper. That's what we know. What we don't know is the circle around the dot. That's all we don't know. Yeah. And then what we don't know. Like, I don't know rocket science, but like this film company, I bet I wouldn't even think that you need that whole business side's a thing. So like all this stuff you didn't even know was there. And now that you dove in head first, you're seeing all this new stuff. Like, it's so amazing. You can learn so much from it. And so for people tuning in, and you guys are at the start of making this company, like how would you describe it?
So we've started a company called Voyager. What Voyager is we are a full service video production company where we are going to be making commercial content for small businesses and local businesses and brands for their websites and for their social media specifically. And what we're doing is we're looking at working with a ton of exciting companies, specifically in Austin right now, where we're looking at the realm of the video space, which is massive, so extensive. And we're trying to be disruptors, honestly, because there's a lot of companies that have video campaigns and have their marketing campaigns, but are looking for something new. Whatever they're doing hasn't been working for them, and they're looking to, how can we look at this from a different angle? So what we're trying to bring to shake up the market is not only like our youth and our new ideas still being in film school, honestly, but having that film background. Because, I mean, everyone's going to tell you they're young and got new ideas. No one's saying they're old. So it's not like that's like our sales point. But what I think really makes what we're doing special is you look at the bones of our company, and it's 4 friends and collaborators that have grown up creating together with that film background. Because, like I said, we're going to be doing commercial content that not only know each other's and their production tendencies and their workflow inside and out, but then also are living together and are intimately together with each other. So not only will we be producing cutting edge disruptive stuff to shake up the marketplace, but also we're going to be able to get that content out at the fastest speed, guaranteed, because we're all right here together. We live, breathe Voyager. That's all we're doing right now. It's 100% full on commitment what we're doing. No one has side jobs. No one's doing side projects. We're living, breathing this company right now. So we offer that speed and that timeliness. And also we have the most competitive price in the market in Austin right now. What our rates are and what our clients know, and why we've been getting a lot of traction. Even though we haven't officially launched yet, we're looking to launch at the end of this coming week. There's everyone's been interested because of just our price point. So yeah, man, it's exciting. Voyager, I'm really excited for it. Check us out, filmvoyager.com. Just explore that page, and if you know anyone that's looking for any listeners tuning in that are looking for something different, looking for a video campaign, ad campaign that's not really like something you've seen out there before, not really generic, hit up Voyager, because we're doing some exciting stuff.
So if I were to come to you as someone who wanted to buy your services, like say this podcast or whatever, like what would you guys do for me? So what is like even
as your podcast?
Yeah, say we could use that as an example, but you could use any business.
Bad role models. Say I wanted to say Voyager was gonna look at bad role models. One thing we do with you is I don't think you have a website right yet. You just have Instagram.
JamesCunningham.org.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. I did not know that. we would first we'd look at your website. We look at your social media, because like I said, we're specializing more so on the web space, because we're not going to be producing TV commercials. We're not that big, you know.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Takes time.
Exactly. We're starting, and also social media is really exciting right now, and a lot of cool stuff is being done on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, specifically though Instagram. And we would look at what you have and what you're doing, and we talk about what you want to see bad role models as. It would be a conversation we have. We get some details from you, and we would basically provide for you an Instagram campaign where we would try to launch you. Our whole motto is Voyager, launch beyond.
So you set me up so I could do it on my own after you leave?
No, you would hire us to make videos for you.
Okay.
So you would pay us to create these videos for you. If it's working and you want to create more, then you hire us again. It's a service, you know. And we charge a rate per video.
Okay.
But what we do is we just we would create that video and try to build traction for your Instagram.
Yeah. So you'd like
ad space.
You'd brand.
Yeah.
You'd be like, okay, that's pretty dope. I like that, and you could do that with anything. So I feel like it's kind of cool too. The Voyager. I don't know if you're looking into it, but like this angle. Like if you set someone up and just, I mean, like you get the base for them and then you send them off on their own.
Yeah.
Because it would be difficult, like, at least for me, like I got no money or anything.
Yeah.
To keep paying you more. Like if you could just like launch me.
Yeah.
Set me on a voyage.
Launch beyond.
Yeah.
Launch beyond, man. Like, I mean, let's not, I don't want to get convoluted here. Like what I mean. Yeah. We're not like we're not an agency where an agency more so will tackle from a more a larger umbrella almost standpoint all the facets of your company. So that would be like if they wanted, we don't do website design or anything like that, for example, like a creative agency, if you want to really like get built and define who you are and have a uniform platform and then market yourself, that's more so like what an agency could do for you.
Okay.
We're specifically video production. So we would specifically be creating your visual media that is getting broadcasted out there, that is bringing more eyes with the target goal of bringing in more eyes, which is what you, unless you want something else, but
usually
traction.
Traction. Nice.
Yeah.
And okay, that makes sense. I brought that. I was thinking you guys were something else, but that makes more sense because that is really important. Like having good visuals, and like you guys are filmmakers, like what's good. Because I even look on TV sometimes. I'm like, how the fuck is this a commercial?
Right.
Like you get paid to do this, and it's so bad.
I mean, we can look at like the State Farm commercials they've been reeling out for like NFL, where it's like the new Jake from State Farm, and you got like Patrick Mahomes there, you got Aaron Rodgers. Those are trash commercials. Those are everywhere. Like every single football game, all you sports fans out there know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. That stupid ass commercial where Mahomes throws the beanbag or whatever into the cornhole, or like
Aaron Rodgers. Yes.
It's like,
stupid.
and it's like, these will give you good rates. It's like, dude, this is, come on, State Farm. Like, it's like that, like you're saying, like that's just generic stuff that they test. It's like, oh, it tests well. Yeah. This will do good for us.
Tests well.
Like someone like step outside the box, man. Like do something that's not really been seen before. That's what we sit down every single day, and we all come together and we just we have brainstorm sessions, because we're doing a lot of pitches right now to potential clients, and it's what we scour, and like I said earlier, like we right now we've been working with companies that are more established and looking for something new. So it's not really like we're launching newer, like your podcast, for example. We would love to collaborate with you and do something.
Definitely, we'll talk after.
But it's more so like companies that, like, for example, we have this one company that reached out to us that has been running this campaign, but it's just very basic and monotonous, and it hasn't really been doing much for them. And they're just looking for something fresh and new. And that's where we come in and we provide that. So you look at State Farm, it's like, guys, this is so basic. Like, why don't you do something crazy that like people don't see on TV?
Catches our eyes.
I mean, it's like, why save this? And this is something about advertising too. It's like, why does everyone just save the Super Bowl to like reel out a cool commercial? Why don't you just do it all the time? Like, what is that about? Yeah. Like, and it's not, and don't say it's about money, because it's not about money.
You get the most eyes.
You can. Like we're making commercials for like I said, the most competitive price in Austin right now. You can do a lot of stuff with low budget. It's all just about your idea and your creative, how you're taking that.
Yeah, that makes sense too. It's like, I love the Super Bowl thing because it's stupid. I think everyone hates freaking commercials, but the commercials that interest me are like the good ones. If you could tell a story in that commercial, like that's what I'm interested in, and not seeing some basic thing that tested well, that's not going to offend anyone, that it works. This is how it used to work, so it's always going to work. Fuck you. Change, adapt, evolve.
Yeah. I mean, people want new things. People are intrigued by new stuff. That's why you look at a platform like TikTok. Why is TikTok so successful right now? It's because there's all this, every single day there's new trends. Like TikTok's running culture right now. You look at the top charts of music, TikTok's running that. You look at pop culture, TikTok's running that. Like a lot of big driving forces that are pushing culture right now is coming out of TikTok. And why? It's because it's all new stuff. It's people are experimenting, because everyone in the world can make a TikTok, and that opens up the market for all these new ideas that come in and make cool stuff. That's why everyone loves it. That's why everyone's addicted to it. Yeah. Whereas the traditional commercial space, it's these same bigwigs that have just been, this tested well. We're just gonna, it works. We don't want to ruffle any feathers. We're just gonna do this.
Fuck you.
Ruffling feathers is awesome. Let's ruffle the fucking feathers.
Yeah.
Voyager.
Like, I love that.
Oh, that should be a little new. Yeah, ruffle the feathers.
That's so nice though. Like, because people like get comfortable, and it's anything in life you can get comfortable. Like, it's nice to be comfortable, but then you get stagnant. Yeah. Like, you could stay there. There's this book and movie, Into the Wild.
Dude, yes. That's, dude, Into the Wild is really a big inspiration for what I'm doing here right now. Like, Into the Wild is fantastic. Into the Wild, I mean, I haven't read the book. I've only seen the movie. I watched the movie. Yeah. Fuck the reading. But I think everyone reads that shit in high school. But it actually like motivated me to not only like this is a different thing. I'll just say this briefly. Like it made me want to read more of like classics like Thoreau, and it made me want to read Jack London more so, and get more in touch with that, like, because I don't think I read enough. One of my New Year's resolutions is I want to read more.
Yeah.
I'm currently reading Boys on the Boat,
Nice.
but like it's a cool story, but part of me is like I want to read the classics. Like,
Yeah.
Why should I be like looking for new books and stuff that's coming out that might be interesting? There's a ton of classics that
They're
I've
classics
not,
for a reason.
that I've not. Yeah, it's like that. There's a reason they're so good.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about them. So, and that's what like Into the Wild's like. He's. I mean, that's not all it is, but I just love how his name's Charlie. What was his name?
Yeah, it's a true story. I don't know his name, but true story.
So well read. Yeah.
This guy graduates college. He's a smart. It's true story, which is the craziest thing to make. He is like a genius. Graduates some good school.
I'm thinking it was Emory.
Yeah, some shit like that. And then, because to break off, because he had, like, everyone has shit in their past. Like, everyone has, and his family wasn't, I don't know the whole dynamic, but there was something going on there.
It was like an abusive relationship almost, but they stuck together. They didn't divorce.
Yeah.
His parents.
Yeah, so to put him and his sister, like, through a lot of shit. And once he graduated college, he was pretty much broke his chains of his family and could do whatever the fuck he wanted. And he traveled across country to Alaska to live on his own in the wild because he wanted to just experience life. And he road tripped the entire way, hitched his ride, and he met all these people. Like, you did a thing which was so cool. You made a YouTube video of you got dropped an hour away from Syracuse, like the campus,
With
and then
no phone and no money.
yeah, and then you had to make your way back. But if you want to talk about that a little bit, like what the people you met along the experiences.
Just with Into the Wild, before we like just to harp on this, like what we talk about defining happiness and defining success, and it's all about what it means to you. There is no universal definition of what that is.
Yeah.
And what I think Into the Wild does an amazing job of is excuse me, it looks at what I think his name's Chris, so let's just call him Chris. What Chris's parents saw as the definition of success. Like they wanted him to go to, I think it was law school, and they wanted him to do this. They wanted to buy him a new car. They wanted him to present himself in this manner to fit the societal mold they were in.
Their idea of him, their perspective of him.
He's like, Mom and Dad, like, I don't need a new car. Like, I don't need money. Like, I don't need this. Like, these are all things. These are all just things. Like, what are you actually doing that's making you? And for him, what his definition was he wanted to be with nature, with the world, at one with all of that, and achieve that through his isolation. But it's not like he's isolated by himself. He's just isolated in terms of his relationships. He doesn't stick with one person too long. He's like, all right, now on to the next. Let's explore. Let's learn the world.
He's living. And
there's this great, and he's doing what he loves too.
Yeah.
He's pursuing what he's passionate about. There's this great shot in sequence and Into the Wild where it's when he's coming back. He has to get an ID or something to leave the country.
Yeah.
And so he comes into Los Angeles, and for a lot of the movie, he's been in these amazing, beautiful landscape, nature spots, but now he's in the city. And he's still got his backpack and everything, and he looks run down because he's just been in the woods. But what it does is they then juxtapose him with all the homeless people because he's at a homeless shelter where he's like, you got a bed for me, when he's trying to get his ID. So then it puts him into this world of homelessness, which I think is often associated with failure and with not amounting to anything. So there's this amazing shot where he walks up next to this little restaurant bar scene while he's like looking homeless out on the street. And the thing about this guy, Chris, too, for everyone that doesn't know Into the Wild, he's like an extremely bright man, like very uber intelligent, super smart, could have done anything that he wanted to do. Could have been super successful, like Wall Street guy if he wanted to. Could have been super successful business head. And that's what they show this guy who's got this slick back hair and he's talking to this beautiful girl.
In the mirror.
And he's just talking to her. He's in a tie and suit, look very well kept together, but he's like the same age as Chris. Yeah. And they do this amazing shot where all of a sudden like someone passes and then he sees himself and it's actually that actor then with the slick back hair and everything. And it's what it does, and that scene speaks volumes because it's the whole idea of like regret and your path. And
it's what he could have been.
What if I didn't pursue what I wanted to do? What if I just went with the mold?
Yeah.
Well, damn, look at me. I'm homeless now.
Yeah.
And I've been pursuing my passion. That guy just kind of stuck with that mold, and he's there looking nice in this bar with this pretty girl. But then they do like a step back, and it contrasts. It's like, but he still reached his happiness, because he wouldn't have been happy in that role.
Mm-hmm.
That on the exterior, it's got all the glossiness and the charm of it. He's got like I said, this like beautiful girl on his hip, looking all nice and bougie, whatnot. But that's not what brought Chris happiness.
Yeah.
And I draw a lot of parallels to my own life, my own journey with what I'm doing, to that experience and Into the Wild. And if anything, it's motivating, because it motivates you to still get there.
Exactly.
But through means of what you love, not through means of what society and what the traditional route is to get that success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so, because I watched it before I came here, and I was having doubts. I'm like, why the fuck am I trying to move to Austin? Like, it's so pointless. Like, I should just do this. And then I watched this, like, I was praying a lot about it. Like, I didn't know what to do. I was very lost between, should I go back to school? Should I come out here? Like, what should I do? And I was like thinking about this so much for so long, and like talking to my priest about it, just trying to figure it out. And I was praying, just like, please help me, like, make a decision, like, what to do. And what my priest told me is like, both options are good. Like, I'm deciding between two good things.
Yeah.
But when I watched the movie, like, I was at a point, like, I was praying, I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm fucked. Please help me. Show me the way. And I was scrolling through Netflix, saw this movie. I'm like, oh, this seems interesting.
Yeah.
I clicked it, goes into this entire thing, and it motivated me. It's like, it reminded me, hey, dipshit, remember what you're doing. Follow your passions, follow your dreams, do what you love. That's what got you here. You got to keep going for it.
It's powerful.
Yeah, but I love Into the Wild, just that name alone. Like, because everyone has their own passions, their own happiness. My path's not the same as your path. Your path's not the same as Sophie's path. Whatever. Everyone, like the Grateful Dead says it best. There's no one simple highway.
No.
Everyone has their own path, you know, and that's why we get caught up in like comparing our paths and stuff. Like
Get caught up.
Yeah, what Chris's parents thought his path should be. They pushed him there because they just wanted to help him. They wanted him to succeed.
Yeah.
But that wasn't his path. Only we know our paths. Like they say in Ripple, which is the intro song and outro song. It's like, if I knew the way, I would take you there. But I don't know your path.
Yeah.
We only know our own paths.
Exactly.
And you have to find what makes you happy. You have to go into the wild, go into the scary world, because it's scary to do things like move out to Austin, do this shit. It's fucking scary because there could be so much pain and so much hurt and so much suffering in that. But going into the wild, trying new things, you learn what you don't like, you learn what you like. You know what you can do, you learn from it, you grow from it.
You will never learn unless you try.
Exactly.
And another thing I believe too, which like Chris definitely does in his journey, is the harder way is always the better way. Because if you go through taking the easy route, that doesn't lead to fulfillment, in my opinion. Everything feels better when every sensation, every result, anything, any payoff is so much better when you know you had to work hard for it. And just like you were saying too, it's that back even to that mirror shot where he looks through the window and he sees himself. You can't really compare yourself to others because it'll just eat you alive.
Yeah.
And when you do compare that path and be like, oh, well, like, dang, James is like has this awesome like podcast he's running, like he's doing great. Like, oh, maybe that's what I need to do. No, like, you know deep down what you need to do, and you find that through looking at what makes you happy, what moves you, what touches your bone, like what hits you exactly, and that's what you got to follow. Yeah. And yeah, man. Look at us.
Yeah, look at us.
We're getting a little philosophical here.
I know, but that's what I'm minoring in philosophy. So like that, I love philosophy in that way because it makes you ask questions and question things. Because like my mind, I told you the other night, it's like probably my greatest strength, but also my like greatest weakness. You know, because I can overthink things to a point of exhaustion, and it gets dangerous. And that's the whole thing with the meditation. It helps you ease your mind, take a step back, take a breath. And it is very nice. It's scary though, the future. you know, because I don't know what's coming, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom always says, like, if you want to hear a joke, tell God your plans, you know, because we don't know what's happening. Like, we don't know what comes for us in the future.
Isn't it wild? And when it does come, it's
Yeah.
like, damn, I never would have thought, dude.
Yeah.
If you told me a year ago, today I'd be in Austin starting a company
Yeah.
at age 20, like with just all of that and just that, I'd be
Yeah.
like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be in school. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. There's these
yeah,
gifts though that help you on your path, but like when you're in the shit, it's hard to see like you're in it. But
Yeah.
after you get out, you're like, oh, that's helped me get here. Like, oh, this helped me grow. This helped me change. Because like at least for me, and I think it's for most people, I'd say everyone, like the most transformative moments in our lives come from probably the most painful moments, you know?
Definitely.
Like my parents got divorced when I was going into my freshman year of high school, and I changed high schools to go to a private school where I didn't know anyone. I knew my friend Alex, whose cousin I went out with last night,
Yeah.
and another friend named Teddy. And I moved houses, moved schools. My brother went off to college. My dad moved away, and it was just me and my mom. And then, like, it was very difficult. That first, second, honestly, all those years were very hard for me. But it helped me grow, you know,
Right.
because it threw me in a pot that I wasn't used to, like, and it made me look, because I'd say I'm an introvert, even though from the outside, like, I may not look it, but like I like my headspace, like I like my alone time, I like to think, and just being thrown into this situation and all this rough shit, it helped me. I mean, at the time it sucked, but like looking back at it, it formed who I am.
Yeah, man.
You know, it showed me like you can get through fucking anything.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've seen, it sucks to see, but literally from my town, like it's a well-off town, I know so many kids that took their own lives.
Wow.
Like my freshman year, like but one of my friends who was on the tennis team with me, he was the senior, like he reached out to me, he was like a nice kid. But he looked straightforward, like clean cut, because you only see what people show you, you know,
Yeah,
you see
man.
their mask,
Yeah.
how you perceive them. And it was I will never forget that day, Jesus. But yeah, we found out that he took his own life, and it was shattering
Yeah.
to see that. But it just goes to show you that whatever people show you on the outside is not what's going on in the inside.
Yeah, man.
And I think that really resonated with me, because people see me as one thing, you know, but they don't know like what I've been through, all this shit, and that's for everyone.
Yeah.
But like looking back at it now, I need a little sip. Looking back on it now, I see like that it showed me, because I wasn't always like look from another person's perspective, like see the other person, but because it showed me everyone saw me as this, like I was a 3-sport athlete. I wasn't very good at these sports, but like I was still playing. I was president of the school. I was doing all this shit, and people were like, "Oh, you must be so happy. You must be," but like I didn't feel happy.
Yeah, everyone's got that deep down story, you know.
You know?
That a lot of people don't know. Like,
Yeah.
even you and I, like we're so close, like, of friends, you know, but we still have like stories that we will learn
Yeah.
about each other in
Yeah,
the future, that we like, because that's, like you said, there's these things that people bury, and they try. Oh no, I'm supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to be. I have everything going for me. Like I have great parents. I go to a nice school. I should be happy. I should, like, and that's a dangerous thought.
Yeah.
Because when you start saying I should be happy, because of what you have around you, that's when your demons that you keep down,
Yeah.
really start to eat away at you. And that's just I think it's another like it's something to remember. Just also check on the ones you love, you know?
Yeah.
Be there for them to ask, because you never know the full story.
Exactly.
And even and don't like pry it out or anything. Just let them know that you're someone that they can
support
talk
them. Like that's the thing. Like if you love someone unconditionally, like you can never change anyone. You can only change when you want to change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no one like me trying to guide you, take you, try to show you your path. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I could be there and support you. Like when you bench press, you know, like I'm there to support. You're lifting it up. You know, even when you just put a finger on, it feels like they're grabbing it for you and just rip it up. But that support, that love, someone that is there for you, feels so good and it helps you. And it's not everyone has that.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I love the church, because the church gives me a spot that I know is always there. Like, because families, whatever, friends, like they come and go. Like some people don't have the same healthy relationships, you know, like that I've been blessed with. But something like that, or like a Zumba class, or something you feel support in, like you could find it anywhere. And it just gives you that support you need, that love. Like the love helps everyone. And we need more of that in this world.
Yeah, man.
We need that love.
It's all about like the people. I think that's people and relationships, I think, are like the most important thing in this world.
Yeah.
And just being kind to one another.
Yeah. I mean, my dad said this to me. I was going to tell the story, to my group of friends. But then I forgot the story. So now I'm going to tell it now. But pretty much like the whole thing is like, you don't know what's going on in someone else's life. And my dad tells me a story like after my friend took his life. And it was like, this guy was going to the Golden State Bridge. He was miserable. And he wrote a note. He said, if anyone says hi to me, I won't kill myself. And he walks from his place to the Golden Gate Bridge, passes people. No one looks at him. No one says anything. Holds the door. People walk through, step over him, treat him like he's not anything. He gets to the bridge and he jumps. But if someone just said hello, treated him like a person, showed him some kindness, treated him like you would treat yourself, you know, he wouldn't have done it. Like little things like that, little acts can make the world a better place. Just holding the door open, saying thank you, being kind. Like it may not seem like a lot, but to someone who's down in the dumps, like it could mean the world. You know?
Yeah, there's so much to be said about like just those little moments. That moment when you just in passing say like, hey man, how you doing?
Yeah.
Or like even if it's like someone like your waiter or your waitress, back to like how everyone in Austin we've seen is like been like that, you know?
So nice.
It's just like you, instead of just like, here's your thing, like it'll be $2.88 or whatever, like be like, oh, how you doing? Like, and with a smile too. And it's just like the energy you give off as well. And just also remembering that like we're all people, we all go through the same emotions and our highs and lows, and just you being positive to someone might change their outlook on their day, and they'll be positive to someone else. And that's just such a small thing that has a huge domino effect.
The butterfly flaps his wing in the U.S. and makes a hurricane in freaking Africa or something like that. But I was watching on the plane ride here a documentary called Heal.
Okay.
And pretty much what it was is that doctors are treating symptoms, like, and not the root, like with medications and stuff, and not the root of the problem. Because like our minds are so powerful, like beyond belief. So amazing, and like we can heal our bodies. Like this one guy broke his spine or whatever, he's not supposed to walk again ever, and he's like, wait, like they're like, we're gonna do the surgery on you, we're gonna put a rod in your back and whatever. Some people got cancer and they're like, you got 3 months to live. But the whole thing was they went to the Western medicines where it's like, heal your mind with your mind. Like your mind is so powerful. Like our bodies are meant to take bumps and bruises and get hit because we can heal ourselves and grow from it. You know, like when you break a bone, I don't know how it works, but it gets stronger. Like it does get stronger. Like all the calcium or like calluses, like you rip your hands and your skin gets harder.
Playing the guitar.
Like we're meant to adapt. That's how humans are so widespread, and we've made it so long because we can adapt. And what it was saying is like, if you cloud your mind with negative thoughts, negative feelings, like you act like a dick, karma's real. Like that shit comes into life. If you think I'm shit, I'm terrible, I'm blah, 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 all this negative stuff, you're going to feel like shit. And that's why it's like people with, like, I've suffered from anxiety my entire life. And it's like, when I have all these thoughts, it correlates. Like your mind and body are connected. Mm-hmm. It's not one in this or two different things. It's all connected. So if your mind's having negative thoughts, you're gonna feel like shit. Like your back, like you really feel when you're stressed, your back hurts. Yeah. Like you feel it's physical pain from a mental point. Yeah. And the whole point was like, well, if you have positive thoughts, if you think I'm not doing it. It's a great documentary. Watch Heal if you want to hear more about it. But
shout out Heal.
Yeah, shout out Heal on Netflix. Netflix got some great stuff, but it just shows you like positive thinking, positive energy, positive stuff resonates. It creates like better like circuits. You know, I don't know. It's very interesting because like you can think that you're dying and you could kill yourself just by that. You know, if you think you're dying, well then you're gonna die. But if you think you're getting better, like there's in the Midnight Gospel, this one of the host or one of the guys on the podcast was like, when you're hurt and you're sick, when people ask, oh, how are you? Like, I'm getting better. You know, I'm getting better. Because then you set a frame was like, I am healing. You know, I'm in the process of healing. Like, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm getting there, you know?
That's nice.
It is nice.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a simple thing you could change. I mean, it's not simple for everyone, but it's a simple thing we could do easily. Just change our perspective, change our thoughts in a way.
So important.
It's so important.
So something to be taken so seriously as well. Like I think mental health is really overlooked a lot.
It is.
And it's like you said, and if not mental, it's overlooked for physical health, you know, and it's one and the same. Yeah. Like it's connected. And that's why it's not something to be taken lightly. And I think you've been saying great stuff this entire podcast about mental health and how to have that outlook. And I'm learning something from you just talking about it the same way. Like I hope when I talk about mine, like you learn something from it. It's just having those conversations about it and creating an open forum to make it normal to talk about how you're feeling
with trust and love.
Yeah. Right. And being accepting to other people's, whether it's their struggles or their breakthroughs, and just being able to talk to them about it and get it all out on the table there. So that those thoughts are out there and they're not instead just bogged down inside you. Because when you let them loose, that's why I think this podcast is great. Bad role models. Like you really just get down and you can talk about things and put it all out there. And this is a form of this is almost like a form of meditation. Yeah. In a way.
It's nice.
Yeah.
That's literally why I started this thing. Because I was telling you earlier, like we see like these interviews on news outlets and all this shit. It's cut. You know it. You can manipulate anything to make it what you want it to be. And I think that is good in some cases, but it also is very dangerous because that gives the power of, it's literally manipulation onto these people. And that's why I started this, like long form conversations. I don't cut anything. If there's errors, like my camera doesn't work, well, it's going in. It's going in. Everything goes in.
That's what I was about to say. Like, I love just how you even started this. It's not like, all right, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Okay, because even just that, you get like, even if you're trying to be as authentic as possible, you have a little like buffer where you're like, okay. Yeah. Oh, hey, okay. Thank you for having me. Let's, like, you literally, I didn't even know when you started. You just like just started talking, and we're like going. We pressed record, but then we just fumbled around with the audio. But like that's literally the start. And we didn't even have, I think, like a first question. No. Like we just started
conversation. That's what I love about it, because like I'm not interviewing anyone. We're just talking with microphones and cameras, and then everyone can hear. Because like we have, like, I love our conversations. Like we have some really cool shit.
We always get deep. We get deep.
Yeah. So it's like, it's nice. And then I think like they're important conversations. And in the future, I'm looking to do like a bunch of, like, because I'm passionate about other people's passions. Like I want to hear and I think it's so cool. It shows people like who you are, like what you're made of, like, because there's no cuts. we're just being Robby and James. We're just talking. And that's in the description. I was deciding between just talking and bad role models as the title. And I'm like, bad role models just fit so well.
I like bad role models.
It's pretty badass.
Edgy, too.
Yeah.
And we're just here talking about kindness and everything.
Yeah,
and
that's
we're like, fucking bad role models.
Yeah, bad role models, exactly. But I think it is very important to have conversations where you can trust and have empathy. Because I'm scared. Like, it's scary in a society like cancel culture. I think is very dangerous. Because instead of sitting down with a person and talking with them, you are canceling them, silencing them with hate. Like, you're putting gasoline on a fire.
Rubbing it with oil.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just it's dangerous because I saw it, like I see it. We all see it. And I think it's very dangerous, like when you silence anyone with hate and just that, it just causes more fear. It's literally what the Nazis did. It's like you use propaganda, you use fear to control people. And that's what it is. Instead of sitting down, having a conversation, getting to know the person, and just understand why you're doing the things you're doing or said the things you said, and try to figure it out and be like, this is why I feel this way. Not from a preaching, like, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. It's like, this is what I feel. And then the other person's like, well, this is what I feel. It's like counseling when you go to like marriage counseling.
And you're not like then telling that person, this is how I feel. Oh, well, that's wrong. Because I like how you're preaching on seeing both sides, because everyone has different sides. And what I think an issue, which is like the world's outlook on that, is then they go, all right, well, which one's right and wrong?
Black and white.
That automatically creates polarity, which leads to extremism, which leads to like fight and strife and conflict. And that's why that whole stigma of, all right, which side are you, which one's right and wrong, I think doesn't get you anywhere. That creates conflict. Whereas what you harp on, let's talk about both sides and just understand each other better, get a better understanding. Doesn't mean we have to agree, but we're just like, we're talking about it, we're discussing it, and we're learning from each other on both ends. Because you look at social media. Like, I think it is evil what social media does in terms of influencing people. Not only, specifically politically, but not only politically, just in general. But if we look at politics, for example, because it's just the best way to look at sides. Social media is taking all of, especially youth, and as strong as we might like to think we are in our mental and however much we want to think we can't be influenced, and that we are very firm with our position and understanding and know when propaganda is being used against us. Social media, like Instagram and Facebook specifically, will put in front of you polarizing content from either the right or the left. Like, say it's like on your Snapchat, NFL Ben Shapiro podcast highlights, and then or something like Pod Save America, which is just the other side of it on a different podcast. And whichever one you listen to more, just out of engagement, then they will continue. That's the algorithm to feed you extremism points. Yeah, it shows you what you want to see. They never feed you. If you look at it, why is it that they never feed you on your suggested middle ground stuff? Where's the middle ground content? Where is it? It's not pushed to you. It's what the algorithm is created to create polarization, because that enhances engagement. Because then when you feel you're all in on one side, it's like the whole thing about being 100% into something, and that applies to everything. That applies to what we're doing with Voyager. You're 100% into it. You're more likely to just be more passionate about it. You get all the way on one end of the pole, you become more extreme about your position. It causes you to not only then preach that and go into that negative space where you're calling people out, no, you're wrong, which creates the conflict. It also then makes you more engaged on your phone, which is what the social media want, or what all the platforms want. So they're doing it for like that reason. Yeah,
they just want you to come back and keep using their
product. Exactly, to make money. But what it's causing is this generation of just disunification. I don't know if that's a word. Like separation. You know what I'm saying? It's a word. Not unified. Where people aren't unified. People aren't coming together. People aren't doing this and having conversations about where they don't see eye to eye. I'll be at a campfire, especially like around politics time in the heat of the election, and even like some close friends of mine, instead of talking about like what we think and blah blah, it's like, oh my gosh, like, and like I've been around some people that very outspoken for either side, but they'll be like, oh my gosh, if you I can't believe, like, if you think Kamala Harris is a great vice president, like, I don't know what you're thinking. Like, and like, they'll go on. And it's like, what does that accomplish? Like, you're just flexing your opinion to us, and you're gonna like,
who gives a shit?
Yeah, like that solves nothing.
Yeah,
it literally does nothing except just create divides.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to my youth minister about this. It's like that, because we all want to do good, you know, and it's. Right in a time right now, it feels like there's a lot going on that we need to cling to something good and hopeful. And so my point is, like, I know people are going to, I don't give a shit what people think. People are going to get mad for me saying this, but like when we post shit online, it's like, I'm doing the right thing, you're wrong. You know, it makes us feel good when we're doing right. You know, it's like, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. Look at me, I'm doing right. This is right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
But it makes us feel like we're doing the right thing, even though it's not really helping the situation. Like, if you really want to help, all right, cool. You want to do good, but it's hard to do good. So it's easier just to put something on our fucking Instagram and say, hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing everything right. But if you want to like help global warming, okay, stop. Like, we look at the problems, but we don't look at solutions.
Yeah. Because it becomes, if you look at the Instagram story space, it becomes like, let's like use global warming as an example. It more so just becomes like a fucking big dick off. Like, who's the more whatever. Like, all these people posting. Say there was one like Instagram. I think about that. Remember there was that boat that was about to like spill over and dump all that oil into the ocean. No. This was this past fall. Yeah. And it would have been like the most disastrous oil spill in forever. Everyone just started posting that headline on their story, be like, this is why we need to, like, this is terrible, like, global warming, this is why we need Trump out of office, or like stuff like that. You start going crazy for a 24-hour period. The same way why on TikTok you follow a trend and like you try to like do the dance better than all your friends. It's not. And I know the intention's there.
Yeah, the intention's good.
The intention's very good. It's a great intention. I'm not trying to chirp on any of that. No. It's just it's a little sad. Yeah. Because that becomes the payoff of, oh, I'm doing right by me by saying this on this platform, when you're just saying stuff on an Instagram story. Yeah, are you actually doing anything to and I'm not saying I'm like any crazy climate change, like guy that's volunteering time. Like, I don't like, I'm putting that out there, but I don't like, people will think they're doing right by everything, which you like, it's a step. It's a good step.
Good to show everyone like, hey, this is a problem. Cause like, I do think like, cause I didn't hear about that, but when you put stuff, cause social media is so powerful, like you can actually make change. Like when people post that, oh, this is what's going wrong. Yeah. All right. Now we know what's going on. What can we do to change it? What can we do to make it better? How can we grow?
What are activities you do in your life, like maybe like recycling or leaving the lights on and off, that you can actively do? And then it's like, will you then be satisfied though, knowing that you're doing that? Or does that make you happy, or do you want to then like flaunt that to all your friends on social media? Turn off all my lights tonight, like, because that's also another thing. I honestly don't think a lot of people are satisfied with just doing it for themselves and knowing they're doing right by them. Yeah. It's more so they want everyone to know.
Because I think that goes back to feeling content with yourself. Like if you find that inner peace, inner happiness, your own path, like we all want to do good, like, but it's a way to get gratification, being like, hey, look, accept me. See what I'm doing? I'm doing good. Like, I'm doing good. And I'm trying to think of the word for it. Like, not praise, but trying to get acceptance from others to like show that we're good people. Like, wow, what is the word for that?
You're trying to get satisfaction?
It's like trying to get
validation.
Yes, validation. It's like trying to get other people to validate us.
Exactly.
But all the validation we need is from ourselves. But until you can get a point of self-love and self-peace, like, you're not going to feel those, and you look for other things to give you that, like drugs, like posting stuff to make it like, hey, look at me, I'm doing good. Hey,
Right.
you see me?
Yeah.
Hey. But that's short-term shit. You may feel good for, like, it's like likes on Instagram. You get however many likes. Oh, nice, my dopamine's up. Well, does that really make you happy, seeing, like, these people like your photo? No. It gives you that little bit, though.
It is a thing, though. That's where it's scary. It does feel good, though, to get that, you know?
It's short-term. It's literally, I think drugs are the perfect example.
I have that with my videos. If a video does well, that makes me feel amazing.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
human, though.
And that
we
is
all feel this.
And that is that like,
Yeah.
you know? Which, I mean, I think there's something to be said about it. It can differ if it's like an actual video I worked hard on compared to like a picture of me and my boys.
Yeah.
that one I'm not really caring as much about. So I guess there is a little discrepancy there.
Yeah.
But like I hear what you're saying. Like, is that really? I don't know if this is like a thing. My roommate Maria from Lebanon, she, on her Instagram, and I don't know if this is like, I don't know if it's a thing just because of where she's like her. I don't know. I think she maybe has a setting. What I'm trying to say is, her likes on her Instagram, she was showing me the other day, she cannot access how many people like.
That's awesome.
It just says like this and others, and I might just be ignorant here. That might be a setting that everyone.
I need
just
to put
do.
that on.
I don't know why. Because I asked Maria if that was like a thing that just is like back home.
Yeah.
And she was like, "No, I don't think so." And that's ignorant Robbie
Yeah.
being like, "Oh fuck, what idiot."
No, it's nice though, because like I have the same thing. Like we all struggle with it. Like even when I started the podcast thing, like I was posting the YouTube, because I do everything for it. Like I post the YouTube channels and stuff, and like I would look at the views. I'm like, oh fuck, only like 20 people looked at this, like 10 people, like. But then I'm like, all right, stop, James. That's not why you're doing this. Like you're doing this because you love this, and like I was struggling, like a lot of thought, prayer, like this shit doesn't happen overnight. Like it takes, but that's what people see. Like you see people like Dan Blazarian online, like flaunt his cash. You're like, that's what I want to do. Like I want that. Yeah. But for me, I'm doing this because I love this, and seeing like the marketing side of it was killing me. So I said, hey, I'm going to step back, and I'm going to let my brother's doing all my marketing stuff now. So he posts, I put it in a Google Drive, and he posts it on YouTube. I don't look at YouTube because for me personally, it's hard for me at where I'm at right now to see something and be like, shit, I wish it was doing better. I wish it was, I hope, like I wish, like that stuff is so dangerous because I want to live in the present. I want to live in the now.
Yeah.
I can't, because in my head, like it just gets caught up in all that shit, and it's just distractions. They're literally just distractions, but I'm so glad that I can start to notice the things that are hurt me and keep me from my path. And I can say, hey, maybe I'll set this to the side. Like, I'm not ready to deal with this yet. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's all about starting. It's like with making videos for me. I'll get bogged down where I'm just not creating videos. Right now, for example, like I haven't made anything in the past month that I've shot and edited, and that for me like gets me bogged down. It gets me feeling bad about myself. Like I need to be making, I mean obviously, but then I remind myself like, Robbie, like it's fine, man. You're starting a company right now. Yeah. Your head's in a different place right now. It's okay, but like it's all about getting started and making videos. And even though I give myself that excuse, it still like riles me up. Like, oh, you gotta go out and shoot tomorrow. Yeah. Just get out there and shoot. And like with you with the podcast, like just get out there and keep recording, keep doing podcasts, and it'll get there. Yeah. And on the marketing side too, I have an idea. If you want me to pitch it,
I'd love to hear it. Yeah.
I think you should start doing clips on your Instagram.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Like highlights of podcasts, and then run traffic over to your YouTube. Like, cause like if you look at, I feel like a lot of like good podcast channels. Like I know like. Guilty of clicking some Logan Paul like impulsive clips that just pop up on my like timeline or whatever. Yeah. But like that beefy nice stuff, like you can just throw clips in. I feel like that'll get also shares too. Yeah. People watching that aren't maybe too inclined to like press the link to get to the YouTube. It's so long. You know? Yeah. It is long. I get it. It's long. Not everyone has time. Looking at a 2-hour runtime is a little intimidating. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean my mom always says that to me. She's like, can you make it like 30 minutes? I'm like, Ma, that's not the fucking point. How long are we right now?
I have no clue. I'm really hoping this is recording. I don't know. I honestly don't.
How do we know? Does
You
it not
don't.
say?
Well, it says it on there, but that's the thing.
I think we're about at what? You think we're hour and a half?
I have no clue. That's the thing. Like I get in, you listen to Kid Cudi?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
the
yeah.
Cudi zone, that flow, that feeling, like you could do it, you find it in anything, like your passions, like when people like play instruments, when they get in the flow.
Yeah.
If you play sports, like
You're in the zone.
You're in the zone. You're in the Cudi zone. Or
The
that
Cudi
flow.
zone.
The Cudi zone. Yeah.
Dude.
But like for me, my zone, my flow is just talking, and like I get lost in it. And I love that because it is like meditation. You're right. It is so freeing for me. And I like the time. Who gives a shit about the time? It's just like us. We're here now. Because time is such an illusion. That's another tangent. But
Time's such an illusion.
But yeah, I want to talk to like physicists about that and shit. It's very interesting. Like my free time for fun, I just go on YouTube and watch like physics videos.
Yeah.
I'm such a fucking nerd, but I love it. Like I love to learn and that stuff. Like I love puzzles. I love trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
And like it just gives my brain something to work with.
Yeah.
And that's literally what I'm like trying to recode. I was just with my calculus teacher. We're trying to recode computers with a new base number, but we'll see where that goes.
Whoa.
I don't know, because I was just like fucking around and I'm like, this seems interesting, so I brought it to him because I don't know math. Like I don't know this kind of shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, what you're doing is wrong. Like is probably not the best path to pursue. Because that's another thing. Like we don't know everything. Like I don't know everything. No one knows everything. And that's why we need each other to like talk. And we need both sides, because there's not one power is going to be wrong and the other side will be like, hey, fuck you. You're not doing this right. You need both to find that healthy middle. And for me, like, I don't know everything. So like, but allowing yourself to be like, hey, I need help, because that is something, it's hard to say. Cause like, at least for me, it's like, I always want to do everything by myself. Like if you want something done, like, do it yourself. And I think that's great in a lot of circumstances, but it also can hurt you in a lot of ways. Like everything's got two edges,
Yeah.
I need help to show me guidance. And he was like, hey, this is not the right path, because he knows more in the subject. He's like, follow this way. So he gave me the stuff. I haven't played with the numbers at all really yet. That's going to be a shit show, but I got to look into that. Yeah. But that's what I think is really cool. Like people can show you, because you can't see your own eyes. It's hard to see what you're doing wrong. And that's why you need other people to be like, hey, oh, you've been drinking every night. Like, oh, maybe you should slow back a little bit. And then you're like, oh, this is what I've been missing. Like, now I see, now I could do something to fix that.
It's the clarity.
Yeah. It's nice. But I enjoy that. We need that back and forth. But back to your when you traveled across the country, or not the country,
just like the eastern
east,
part.
Yeah, the hour.
Half of it.
How was that?
I love driving.
Yeah.
I love getting on the road and even just like by myself, just alone with my thoughts. That's another thing where you just can do a lot of contemplation and introspection. And like on this whole theme we've been talking about meditation, it's almost meditative for me to go on these long drives.
Yeah.
So I love being on the road. And my favorite part of the trip was probably getting the chance to link up with some of my friends. Shout out Ellie Snyder and Aurora McCarger, and Griff Whitman. Shout out
Griff. That's how we met.
And shout out LFG Sports.
Yeah, that's literally, oh my gosh, LFG Sports is how I met Robby and how Robby met I. I was playing on the hockey team, and Josh Berenson, who's running his own website making company. I forget the name. It's Berenson something. Just look up Josh Berenson on like Instagram or online and you can come up. But he was on my hockey team, and he was working with Griff with LFG Sports. And he was like, oh, you're a pretty chill kid. Like, because I was doing BDJ at the time. So he's like, hey, you can like edit our photos. And he brought me in into the, did you drive me there the first day? Or did
I
drove me
gave
back?
you a ride home.
Yeah.
That was at Reach Out. That was at me, like, literally just, you need a ride home.
Yeah.
And, like, we became boys.
Yeah, and then you and those other hockey boys got me in SIG-Ep.
Rushed you at SIG-Ep.
And then now we're having the time of our lives.
Look at us now.
Like, who would have thought?
ATX.
But, like, who would have thought me just me joining the hockey team, which like I wasn't even gonna do, is like the second club hockey team. Like it wasn't anything.
Yeah.
That brought me here. Like everything, we can't see it at the time, but that brought me to LFG.
It's a path, yeah.
LFG brought me to SIGEP. SIGEP brought me to here. Like everything, like we wouldn't have met if I never joined that team.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, but like all this stuff, like I got a concussion when I was playing. I got mono. I tore my rotator. Like there was shit along the way. Like it wasn't a beautiful path. Like I'm still dealing with the consequences, but like that's what I think it's very important to notice. Like there are consequences to everything. There are not even consequences. There's just that effect. Like what you choose has a massive effect that you can't even imagine.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. It's like there's so much.
It's wild. It's like it makes you think about fate a little bit. Like is this because everything seems, and I think that's a crazy thing, like fate just in general, but it is insane, like taking a step back and like, how did I get here? Yeah. And you see the whole story, and it's also crazy because it's like, oh my God, it's my life. Yeah. Like, but it's
empowering too, because it's like, because this is what I'm trying to work on more, because it is scary. Fear leads to hate leads to anger leads to the dark side.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. You gotta be like, I'm getting better. You can't. I like looking at what I'm doing in the future instead of analyzing my past, because that leads to negativity. Yeah. You know? And it's also like I mentioned this to you earlier. I've started journaling. And I was really inspired. Matthew McConaughey specifically.
Yeah, you watched that Joe Rogan.
Shout out. I mean, King of Austin. Yeah. Matthew McConaughey, role model of mine. Bad role model. He just wrote his book Green Light, I think.
Yeah, Green Light.
And he was talking about it on a podcast. I don't know if it was Rogan.
Yeah, he went on. I think he did a bunch.
But I think I might have listened to Rogan, or maybe it was like Part of My Take he was on. I was listening to.
I heard he was on that too. I love those guys, Big Cat and fucking PFT.
Yeah, right, dude. I love those guys. He talked about how he had a journal that he just kept from his whole life, and that's basically what he based the book on, and said like he highly advised keep a journal, because when you do look back on your life and that path how you got here with his journal, he could then flip to the date and look at exactly what he was thinking in those moments and like see like what it was he was thinking about in those times. And what he advised too is what worked for him was, it wasn't just looking about like how he got there, but he was looking at like the good in his life and the bad in his life. And when he was doing, like, for acting, for example, when he was making a lot of stuff that he was really proud of, and when he was in a good mojo, he flips back to that journal and he saw what was I thinking, what was I doing in that period that was good. And then when he was in some bad low points, what was I thinking then? What was I doing differently there? And he said it just has been able to direct him on the exact right path he's been wanting to be on. And so now I'm taking up my journaling, and I'm especially just moving out here to Austin. I thought it was the perfect spot to start doing it. And so far, I mean, it's been pretty fun. Yeah, it's kind of cool to just sit down, and it is meditative as well. Like just sit down and write your journals. Yeah,
it is really cool. I mean, it helps you just, I don't know. Like, that's the thing we were talking about earlier. Like, we don't have one set path. You know, everyone's path's different. Like, what helps me might not help you. Like, this journaling helps you, though. Like, everyone's got to find their journaling, their meditative, whatever it is. And it's just, it helps. But it's easy to see, like, what helps other people. And, like, why isn't this helping me? Yeah. Like, I'm never going to try this again.
Helps
like,
your memory, too. It, like, because I've noticed myself personally, I've started to lose, like, the clear memories I have of, like, I remember I used to think, like, middle school, for example. Like, oh, like, my time in middle school, that's so clear, vivid in my head, like, what was happening. I've been starting to find recently, I'll have these, like, memories come in my head, like, that I totally forgot about, like, middle school. Yeah. Which was, like, huge years of my life, like, 6th through 8th grade, like, shit, like, I think it was, like, all the bar and bat mitzvahs. I just had totally forgotten about all of them until someone the other day was talking about, like, one of their bar mitzvahs. And it was just this, like, whirl rush of memories I had. I was like, oh, my gosh. I totally forgot about all of that. And that's scary because then I think back like years before that, like I'm just starting to forget stuff. Like my life's getting longer. Yeah. I'm starting to get older, and now the more years I live, the harder it is to remember those years in the past. So I remember McConaughey was talking about, like, he had this hilarious story because everyone thinks McConaughey is a badass, right? Yeah. And he was saying he never really, because, like, you don't really think of yourself as a badass. I mean, you can, obviously, but he thought his older brother was a badass. Yeah. And talking about like memories, he had this story that he wrote that he just remembered because he journaled it, where it was his older brother who was adopted. So he wasn't born by McConaughey's parents, but like he was just adopted. And his parents, I guess, always asked, like, from when his older brother was like 12 and on, hey, do you want to like go meet your birth parents? Like, because they knew who they were. He's like, do you want to go meet them? And he's always like, no. Like, he goes up 15, 16, he's driving now. He's like, no, I don't want to meet him. He graduates high school. Like, no, I don't want to meet him. I think it was when he was around like age 20, 21. He just, McConaughey said, he just came in one day and he's like, you know what, Mom? Like, I want to meet my dad, like my birth parents. And they're like, all right, like, when do you want to do? He's like, I'm fine, whenever. He's like, all right, well, like, we'll go over tomorrow. They, his whole family's like in the car with him. They drive over to the house, and he's like, the mom's like, all right, do you like want us to go in with you? Or you guys are like, no, you guys are good. You just wait out here. His older brother goes in by himself, like, to his birth parents' house. Never met him before. And McConaughey literally says 1 minute later, walks right back out and just gets in the car and didn't say anything. And his mom was like, like, what happened? Was it good? He's like, oh, yeah, it was all good. I just wanted to see if my dad was bald or not.
That's funny as hell.
Because he'd been, like, just wanted to make sure he wasn't going bald. I was like, that's badass.
That is badass.
That is fucking sick.
That is.
I just thought that was so funny.
No, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Matthew McConaughey, he's just, like, the coolest cat around, I feel like.
Cool cat.
All right.
Nah, what a guy.
Yeah, he does it pretty well.
That'd be a cool dude I'd like to hunt down in Austin.
Right?
Just like link up. I mean, not link up obviously, but
Yeah.
like scout out where he is,
Feel
like
like-
run into him, like, oh, I totally didn't. What's up,
Yeah.
Matthew?
Love to talk to him. There's
Yeah.
just so many interesting people here. Like, that's
So many.
but they're everywhere. Like, everyone has it's so interesting.
Yeah.
On their own respect. But so I want to go back to your film stuff, like when you did the YouTube channel. You went to, so you were telling me the other night, like, you went to Africa.
Yeah.
Can you just like explain what the process was of going there and what you did? And
Yeah, so summer 2018, right after I graduated high school, I went on a trip to Tanzania with my aunt. Shout out Dottie, love you. She took me. She's a physician in Cincinnati. She has her own practice. She's a doctor, and she's, for many years, has been doing work in kind of the southeastern region of Africa, specifically like Kenya and Tanzania, with just humanitarian efforts. I mean, like I said, she's a doctor. She's done some work out there, and she also just loves. She's got a special place, I think, just Kenya and Tanzania in her heart, that she just loves going out there. And on one of her trips when she was there, she went on a safari with some of her girlfriends, I think. I don't know who was with her, but she met this guide who was their safari guide. And I don't know if you've ever been on a safari, but it's kind of like it's more so like an intimate experience where you're with this guide for multiple times a day for like 3-4 day period or however long you're doing it for. So you're with them a lot, and while you're looking for animals and whatnot, you're talking. And she started asking him questions about his home village. His name's Godfrey. Shout out Godfrey if he's listening to this.
Godfrey.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Godfrey Masanda. And Godfrey is from the Hehe tribe and lives in this little town or village, Lulanda, which is in the southeastern highlands of Tanzania. But he was working at Ruaha National Park, which is where the safari was. And my aunt starts kind of picking his brain about what their medicine and almost like we would call it healthcare systems, but like that's really it's just like what they do to get healed when they're sick in his village. And he started talking about their traditional healers, which we know as witch doctors, which is their form of healthcare in his home village, and is a very normal form of healthcare in many villages in Tanzania, if not the whole continent, is witch doctors. It's that's their form of medicine. Which is just such an amazing, intriguing topic that my aunt was like, I need to find out more about this. Could you take me to your village? Like, could we make that a trip? Could we do something with that? And they kept in touch. And a year later, we planned this trip where she then reached out to me. She knew I was going to film school, knew I'd been making some films on my own. And she's like, can you come along and can you document this? And you can do whatever you want with it. I just want to have this filmed because I don't know if anyone's ever been in this village. let alone document this for who knows how long.
Yeah.
So, and which we ended up finding out, we were the first white people, like literally just any like skin tone, first white people in the village since I think like 2003.
Wow.
And so we ended up getting permission from Godfrey to like he would host us in his village, and he's like one of the most like holds a leadership role in the village. Like he's a very intelligent, smart man, and that had basically like made it out and was now working at Ruaha, which is just like that's like a big deal. Like he's an awesome guy, so he carries a lot of respect in the village, and so he was gonna be hosting us, and we flew into Dar es Salaam, which is the capital of Tanzania, and then when you're in Tanzania, when you think about like their infrastructure and roads and everything, it's way less developed obviously than like we are. So we would be taking like an 8-hour drive into and as you get deeper into the highlands of the country and more so like away from the coast, the infrastructure of the roads just get way less of quality, you know? So you have to go slower. You're a lot of potholes. It's all dirt roads really. So it takes longer to get destinations. But basically we did a series of drives to get deep into Godfrey's hometown, home village. I mean, we met in this city, Iringa, which is, I won't get into the specifics of geography, but we basically, after a series of drives, finally made it to his home village, where I then stayed for 2.5 weeks, and just learned about their style of medicine and got to actually, pull cameras out and interview these witch doctors, these traditional healers, and film their practices, see an insight into like how they heal. And then we also got to then travel to some neighboring villages and see these people who've almost kind of made it a little bit more of like a commercialized business where they're using the practices of the witch doctors, but then to produce medicine at like more of a mass quantity and for mass distribution, and basically like made it a full-on business. Whereas the ones deep in Lulanda, in Godfrey's village that we interviewed and worked with, are like very traditional, in traditional garb. That would be normal to like their village and their style of medicine, and it's a really intriguing story about like how that process is made out, and that's basically like what I shot that documentary on. Yeah,
that's so dope. So for people that want to see what you make and want to get in contact with Voyager, like how can they see Robby Shaffer?
My plugs. Follow me at Shop by Shaffer on Instagram. There's gonna be a lot of awesome stuff coming out on there in the next 7 months. That's I'm gonna be getting that going. And then also, if you want to check out Voyager, follow Film Voyager on Instagram. The page is up now. There's no content yet, but expect something big coming on that soon. Looking at the end of this coming week on Friday. And then also check out our website, filmvoyager.com. That's what you'll find all the info you need to know about Voyager.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I had a lot of fun today. I'm glad
Hell yes, James.
Yeah, you've been showing me around Austin. It's been a great time. So thank you.
Love this guy.
Yeah, love you too.
Yeah, man.
All right. Peace, guys.
Brother.
That was a good time. That was fun.
Hell yeah.
Let's see if we got the audio. This is the most stressful part for me. Hey, it was. Fun.